It's the ACC on ESPN, and a pair of cross-division rivals open a three-game set at Russ Chandler Stadium in Atlanta. On the one hand, Georgia Tech surging, winners of 6 straight ACC series and up to number 13 in the country. While on the other hand, Clemson Tigers, traditional powerhouses, trying to put together a late push in the Atlantic. Kyle Tate with former Clemson hurler Matthew Crownover alongside. And as you well know, Matt, these late ACC series get more and more tense as the games tick away.
Yes, they do, Kyle. You know, both teams have 9 games left, both trying to make up ground, and Georgia Tech trying to win the Coastal here at the end of the year. Clemson trying to get back in the win column in ACC play today.
Georgia Tech comes in 28-13. You see 13-8 tied with North Carolina atop the Coastal. Clemson tied for 4th in the Atlantic and 26-16 overall. We've got pristine conditions here in Midtown Atlanta, 72 degrees and sunny. Temps could get a little chilly tonight, expected to get down into the low 50 as the sun goes down. And the Yellow Jackets send the right-hander Xavion Curry to the hill to face this starting lineup for the Clemson Tigers. They'll send their left fielder Sam Hall to the top of the order. He'll be followed by Logan Davidson, one of their top hitters, the junior shortstop in the 2-hole. Then it's Grayson Bird, son of former big league hurler Paul Bird in the 3 spot. The catcher Kyle Wilkie, the DH Briar Hawkins, the right fielder Bo Makowski at 4, 5, and 6. And then at the bottom of the order, Justin Hawkins, Jordan Green, and Bryce Teodosio. Teodosio at the bottom of the order there, back in the lineup after an injury. He'll face the right-hander in Xavion Curry, the junior hurler. And Matthew Crownover. Curry has been a workhorse for the Yellow Jackets. He's been the Friday starter for Georgia Tech since his first day on campus.
Yes, he's really been the leader for him on the mound, standing at a 5'10" stature there. Got a fastball, sits in the mid-90s. Will be able to use a slider and curveball when he needs to, but he's able to bump it up there above 95 when he needs to with base runners in scoring position. Really knows how to pitch with runners in scoring position. So look for a great matchup here on a Friday night. Nothing you wouldn't expect from Friday night hurlers in the ACC.
Now, Georgia Tech, I mentioned at the outset that they've won 6 straight ACC series, but on Friday nights they've struggled since conference play began. They're actually 2-5 on Fridays. So in 5 of those series of 6 in a row, they've lost the first game and had to come back and win games 2 and 3. Yellow Jackets hoping to turn that around. Meanwhile, Clemson hoping to keep that going.
Yes, sometimes you just don't play well on a certain day. Sometimes you play better with certain guys' pitch. It hadn't been Curry's fault. He's thrown very well, thrown 6+ innings most of his outings, and give his team a chance to win. But it's hard to win Friday nights in the ACC against good pitching. So look for him to get back on track on Friday night and try to take the first game of the series to hopefully set them up well for the rest of the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Last weekend, Georgia Tech got the series win against Virginia Tech. It was another situation where they lost the opener and then won games 2 and 3. And Clemson had Duke at home and were swept by them. It was the Blue Devils' first win at Clemson, first series win, I should say, since way back in 1993. Clemson trying to turn around some recent struggles. They had lost 8 in a row, got back in the win column on Wednesday against Tennessee Tech. But they've lost 7 straight ACC games now coming into this one. And Sam Hall, the sophomore, will lead things off as he has every game so far this year for the Clemson Tigers. The only man to bat in the same spot in the order every single game. Ready to get going, wind and fire. Ground ball to third. Nice sprawling stab by Jackson Webb, who chucks it across the diamond. 1 pitch and 1 out thanks to a fine Webb gem over at third. And defensively for Georgia Tech, you see Webb joined on the infield by Luke Waddell at short, Austin Wilhite at second, and over at first, Michael Goldberg. Around the outfield, left to right, Colin Hall, Nick Wilhite, and Barron Radcliffe. Kyle McCann completes the battery with Xavion Curry. Friday night starter from day one here on the Flats. 4-2 on the year in 10 appearances with a 4.05 ERA. Swivels and fires to Logan Davidson, who takes a strike at the knees.
You see him attacking the zone early over the middle of the plate, being down. As long as he's down tonight, he's got a chance to pitch deep into the game for the Yellow Jackets.
The junior shortstop takes low and inside. Davidson third on the team with a 280 clip. His 11 home runs tops the Clemson Tigers, as well as his 38 RBIs. Curry's 1-1, foul tipped, and it's strike 2.
Again, we see another breaking ball right there. It looked like a slow breaking ball on the 0-1 pitch. Then it looked like more of a slider there on 1-1. It'd be very key for both pitchers tonight in 1-1 counts to win that count 2 out of 3, like I say. Instead of being in 2-1 counts, if you get to 1-2, you can throw your better put-away pitches and rack up the strikeouts.
1-2 offering. Ripped out towards center. On the run, Wilhite, and makes the knee-high grab on the fly for out number 2. Good jump for Nick Wilhite, surging in from center to retire Logan Davidson. He's not an easy guy to retire, riding a 39-game on-base streak. And now the heavily bearded Grayson Bird will step in from the south side of the plate, the first baseman with 2 men down.
You know, I was asking the guys at Clemson a couple weeks ago, what do you think you put in that beard? How do you maintain that?
You could hide a bird's nest in there. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed.
As you notice, the Clemson lineup under Coach Monty Lee, they are aggressive. When they see a fastball early in the count, it's over the plate, they're going to be swinging. So look for that early in the count to be a lot of action tonight.
.295 average, 5 homers, 32 driven in. 0-1 offering is away. Game 1 of a 3-game weekend set. The time for this one has bounced all over the board. The spring football game will start in about an hour's time across campus. First look for Yellow Jackets fans at new head coach Jeff Collins. And, well, with this one starting, it originally was supposed to start at 4, and they moved it back to 6 due to the final schedule. So now here we are. That's where it's settled. But the original schedule said 7 o'clock. Then they moved it up and moved it back further into the Friday night evening. Here's the 1-2 now to Bird. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Got a piece of it. McCann holds on, and 1-2-3 they go as Zay Curry makes quick work of the Clemson Tigers' top third to the bottom half. Clemson nothing. Georgia Tech coming up. Bottom half of the first inning we go. Georgia Tech will send up Luke Waddell, their shortstop, followed by Michael Goldberg, the top hitter in the ACC, and the powerful Kyle McCann. They're due here in the first. Should anyone reach, it's Tristan English, then Barron Radcliffe and Colin Hall. And the bottom third of the Yellow Jackets order, Wilhite, Webb, and Wilhite. And they'll face the fine freshman arm of Davis Sharp. My, oh my, how good Sharp has been in his first season for the Clemson Tigers. The freshman out of Decula, Georgia, here in the Atlanta area, went up north on 85 and now is dressed in Clemson orange. And he's got quite an arm for a kid who's in his first season in the ACC.
I mean, you got to be real happy with his poise here if you're the Clemson staff. Being on pitch on Friday nights and be the first baseman and DH for the team. I mean, he's done a great job in ACC play. Every start in the ACC so far, he's gone 6 innings except last weekend where he went 5 2/3. And just very good poise on the mound and is able to command all 3 pitches he throws.
He's 5-2 with a 2.48 earned run average. The freshman has made 10 starts so far this year, and his strikeouts are up there, 64 Ks in just 58 innings, compared to just 20 walks and holding opponents to a 199 batting average. Now, the last 2 weeks for Davis Sharp haven't been his best work. 2 weeks ago against Florida State, gave up 4 runs over 6 innings. Last week against Duke, 4 runs over 5 2/3. His ERA 6.17 the last 2 weeks, so he's come back down to earth a little bit. But even so, in working through that adversity, there have been moments of brilliance for him.
Yes, both starts he's had one big inning that's really hurt him at Florida State and at Duke. And allowing the times that the people have walked, they've scored. So he's just got to limit those and be able to get people out when they get on base.
In steps Luke Waddell. And the shortstop takes high and away for ball 1. Waddell so far on the season, .318 hitter, second on the team for Georgia Tech. 2 homers and 26 driven in. And he takes ball 2. Georgia Tech on Tuesday got the win over 4th-ranked Georgia, and Waddell was a key part of it, going 3 for 4 in that game. In fact, in all 3 games against UGA, he was 6 for 9. With a couple of doubles, a triple, a home run. Really set the table for the Yellow Jackets to take the season series against the Bulldogs. And that one on Tuesday, of course, over at SunTrust Park. Inside ball 4, so he watches 4 straight. from the freshman Sharp, and Georgia Tech has the first base runner of the day.
Again, you see right there, trying to get his bearings a little bit on the mound. In a tough environment, this is a tough place to pitch at in ACC. Very hitter-friendly ballpark. Didn't get a strike down there. Now he's from the stretch.
And he'll face the top hitter in the ACC, and Michael Goldberg. 391 in the stratosphere batting average. Squares up from the right side and faces the stretch of Sharp, whose pitch misses inside for ball one.
Again, this is one of those times as a pitcher. You're on the road as a freshman. He's pitched very well, has been composed, but you just want that first strike. You want that first strike to be able to get back in the groove and be able to start throwing the ball in the zone confidently with each pitch you have.
Pitch outside to Goldberg, and it's 2-1 now on the sophomore first baseman. His .391 average tops in the ACC, 6 points better than Wake Forest's Patrick Frick. And he's been there at the top of the conference pretty much since day one of the season back in mid-February. Absolutely red hot. Pretty well a singles hitter, too. Just does a great job putting the ball in play, doesn't strike out very often. More walks than strikeouts on the year.
You know, in today's game of baseball, there's the importance of putting the ball in the air and hitting home runs, but it's good to have a refreshing throwback to a guy that puts the ball in play and tries to hit the ball the other way.
Break even. Off the end of the bat, little poke towards second. Green flips to short for one, but won't get the speedy Goldberg. It's the force at second for out number one. And defensively, you saw Jordan Green and Logan Davidson combine for that force out at second. Here's the rest of the Tigers behind him around the outfield. Sam Hall in left, Bryce Teodosio in center, and Bo Makowski in right. It's Hawkins, Davidson, Green, and Bird from third to first. And the battery, Kyle Wilkie catching the freshman Davis Sharp. One away and a man aboard for Kyle McCann. McCann has cooled off a bit since ACC play began, but he's still powerful. .304 hitter with 15 home runs, second best mark in the ACC. Monstrous left-hander. Watches off the plate away for ball one.
You know, he reminds me, Kyle, of a guy I played against when I was at Clemson. They went to Miami, Zach Collins, catcher.
Yeah.
Kind of bigger body, hit 20-plus home runs a year. Very good left-handed swing.
And he takes a big hack at that one, but comes up empty, 1-1. And today's his kind of day. The wind is really whipping out toward right field, maybe toward the right field corner.
Fraternity row might be in trouble out there.
It's in the crosshairs every day when McCann's in the order. Misses in the basement for ball two.
Again, that's a big count. 1-1 counts. Can you swing it in your favor as a pitcher to get to a 1-2 count to be able to throw your breaking ball, or you have to go 2-1 and be more pigeonholed to what you can throw to a very good three-hole batter here in McCann.
Righty deals his 2-1 check swing. It was a called strike, 2-2. Kyle McCann, a perfect game, and Rawlings midseason All-American this year. Mentioned his home run mark, second in the ACC. His RBI mark, 46 of them, good for fourth in the ACC. So he's all across the offensive podium in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And a big shift for the Clemson infield, too, against him, as the 2-2 pitch is upstairs for ball three.
You know, at Clemson, you talk about having good catchers the last 3 or 4 times through with Spencer Keyboom and Boulware and Chris Oakey and now Wilkie, but also Georgia Tech has a long line of great catchers in their system since Coach Hall's been here.
Swing and a high drive, but foul down the right field line. You saw in that last shot the shift for the Clemson defense, 3 men to the right of second. And Kyle McCann has gotten used to this. You know, we were talking a second ago about Michael Goldberg, about how he just tries to hit it where they ain't and spray it all over the field. You're seeing more and more of this in baseball, where you see 3 guys to the right of second, and hitters are having to adjust and learn how to do what Goldberg does and hit it the opposite way when you need to.
Yes, each hitter's different. Each approach is different. You don't want McCann hitting a ground ball on the third base line. You want him driving the ball in the gap. So he's not too affected by the infielders, put it that way.
There goes Goldberg on the 3-2 pitch, and it's up and out for ball 4. So 2 Yellow Jackets aboard thanks to 2 walks by Davis Sharp here in the opening stanza. And it brings up the DH, Tristan English, who, whereas Kyle McCann has fallen off a bit perhaps since ACC play started, English has surged. In conference play, he's hitting .385. Good for second in the conference. 7 home runs, also tied for second. Pitch to him. And the two-way player swings and misses for strike 1. He's also the Yellow Jackets closer.
Again, there's got to be something to be said about hitting in big games in ACC play. You've got to have guys step up that weren't hitting in conference play to carry you throughout a long 30-game ACC play.
Poked off to the first base side, foul.
One thing coming to games here as a kid from North Georgia is I just always love how this park is open, and anybody can sit right down on the line. And as a kid, it's a dream being able to walk around and watch a game here.
The 0-2 offering popped up right side over at first. Grayson Bird can't find it. Sun shining in his eyes, then goes hurtling over the top rail. And it's out of play. It'll stay 0-2 as Tristan English put just enough on that one to get an extra life here with 2 strikes.
Probably not the best location for a pitch right there. Might have been a little too easy.
Here you see again, he just picked it up in time against this late Friday sunshine.
Looks like it's coming in from the on the right fielder, second baseman, first base side right there.
And the shadows over the next few innings will start to creep across the diamond from behind home plate as the sun settles behind the Klaus building. The 0-2 upstairs, 1 ball, 2 strikes. On the DH, Tristan English.
I think we have a balk right there, Kyle. Got to come to a discernible stop. The big leagues, you don't see that called as much. Guys kind of bounce. Mariano Rivera used to do it a lot. But in college baseball, high school baseball, you see that called a lot. It's a big play right there. 2 runners in scoring position now for English, who's hitting almost 400 in conference play.
And it takes away the potential double play ball, too. As this one in the air, out towards center and tagged. Twisting and turning up against the wall, he'll make the catch. It was Teodosio on the run, and tagging up from third is Goldberg. He'll score, so the Yellow Jackets take the lead here in the last of the first on a deep sacrifice fly by English.
Good piece of hitting right there. Be able to stay back on a breaking ball and drive it to center to knock in a run. But again, you see how big a deal is putting guys on for free with 2 walks and a balk. There still hasn't been a hit yet, and there's 1 run scored, another guy in scoring position now with only 1 out.
Yeah, without that balk, no run scores there. You've got a man, really they'd be on the corners for Georgia Tech with 2 outs, and we'd still be scoreless. So you're right, it's a huge play. Here's Radcliffe now, the right fielder. Takes a strike on the inside third, the sophomore.
What a big present he is in that batter's box. We talked earlier, looks kind of like a Jason Hayward with his pants pulled up there.
That one's off the plate away. Big, powerful right fielder. .238 hitter with 4 home runs. And that might not sound like big-time power with just the 4 this year, but if you watch him in batting practice, it just makes a different sound coming off his bat.
Well, when you're 6'4", 230, you get pitched a little bit different, whether you're hitting 200 or hitting 300. He definitely has a presence up there in the box. You see Kyle Wilkie now going out there to talk to Sharp to kind of settle him down there. It's very uncharacteristic for him to get behind in these 1-1 counts and to flip a count to 2-1. But again, while they were going through this losing streak, Clemson was uncharacteristically putting guys on for free with walks and hit by batters and balks like that. Things kind of went against them. They looked to turn it around on Wednesday, and they did. And teams like Tech that are very good at win on the weekends don't do that.
2 balls and a strike on Radcliffe following the visit. And the pitch. Ground ball. In on the hands. Green at second. Has plenty of time. And it's thrown away toward first. It'll skitter away toward the sidewall, and another Yellow Jacket will score. Jordan Green, the senior, had plenty of time at second base. And it just gets away from Bird, and the inning will continue here in the last of the first. And as we see it again here.
Looked like it went right through his glove there. Maybe just a lack of concentration. See it again here. Yeah, it kind of closed his glove a little too early right there.
Now batting number 5.
Clemson looks a little flat coming out here on a big Friday night. Where a series they needed a sense of urgency after losing getting swept 2 straight ACC series.
You're right. It looked like there was just a giant hole in his mitt. It looked normal. That's why I didn't call it right away as it getting away, because it looked like it was a routine play. He had plenty of time at second, and, well, it's an error on the first baseman, Bird.
But again, when you walk guys, you start off a game walking 2 guys, things like that happen to you. Usually those things don't happen when you're, pumping strikes to start the game off.
He's starting to settle in a bit now. He worked ahead of English. Had an 0-1 count on Radcliffe. Now 0-2 on Colin Hall, the batter. Flirts with the outside corner, but Hall doesn't bite. .278 average for Hall, the Alpharetta native and son of head coach Danny. And there's strike 3 called on the outside corner, punched out by the home plate umpire Barry Chambers, as that one flutters to the black of the plate, and Hall caught looking. Yellow Jackets scored twice, though, to lead Clemson early.
In the bottom of the first inning, the Yellow Jacket.
Back to Russ Chandler Stadium in Atlanta. Georgia Tech scores a pair of runs in the bottom of the first, thanks to a blunder by Clemson there with 2 outs. Tigers led by a relative newcomer in the ACC in Monty Lee. Lee is in his 4th season here at Clemson. Before that was at his alma mater at the College of Charleston. 42 years old. And he replaced a legend in Jack Leggett. As leading things off here in the top half of the second will be Kyle Wilkie, the junior catcher.
Now batting number 10, Kyle Wilkie.
Zay Curry made quick work in the top of the first, 1-2-3, and his first offering in the second is a breaking ball that bends too far.
Coach Lee is one of the most winningest coaches in NCAA the last 5 years. Him and Coach Dan McDonald at Louisville, and legendary coach Danny Hall, another dugout. So the ACC coaching staffs take a back seat to no one in the country. They're very fortunate to have a lot of Hall of Fame coaches in this conference.
And you can tell what a high-profile job Clemson was. They pulled him away from his alma mater. Monty Hall was at College of Charleston, where he played.
It definitely is a destination job. It's not a job it's a stepping stone. It's a destination job. It's one that everyone in college baseball would be fighting tooth and nail for.
2-1 pitch fouled back. Count even now on Wilkie.
That doesn't come open very often. They had 2 head coaches for 57 years between Coach Wilhelm and Coach Leggett.
From 1958 to 2015, it opened once. Leggett got it in 1994 and then kept it for 22 years. You're right about that. You can't hold out for that job to open. Breaking ball inside, just misses the corner. It's 3-2.
Pretty good pitch right there. Looked like instead of it breaking over the outer third of the plate, it was more of a 12-6 break to it, and caught the inside corner. Tough for an umpire to call a strike there.
So the payoff, fights it off.
Very good pitch right there. Down and in. Tough for a righty to handle that ball. But again, you got to love his pace. Curry's pace, he's getting the ball, getting back on the rubber, and attacking guys. Your hitters love that. They stay in the game. It doesn't take 3 or 4 hours to play the game. They love that pace.
There you see Monty Lee in the dugout over on the first base side. Quite a battle going on between Curry and Wilkie. 7 pitches in the AB. This will be the 8th. That's half of Curry's output today through 4 hitters. Payoff pitch. Fought off again.
And you can notice with this approach here, with that approach, Clemson's going to attack early in counts. They're not going to get deep into too many counts. They're trying to hit fastballs early. You don't see pitch counts get up that high against them from opposing pitchers.
Wind and fire, another payoff. The 9th of the AB, ripped to third, and a leaping snag by Jackson Webb. But Kyle Wilkie was a tough out, even with solid contact there on a frozen rope to Webb at third. It took 9 pitches to set him down, and on that 9th, he hit it right on the stitches to third.
What a great swing. Coming off a 3-hit game on Wednesday. Really, that was on a slow start to start the year, but now getting going.
So Wilkie a tough out. Now Briar Hawkins steps in, a freshman DH. Solid freshman season for him as he watches a ball outside. A .282 hitter. 4 home runs and 17 RBIs. Danny Hall, longtime head coach of the Yellow Jackets, at his perch over on the third base side. 26 years on the Flats. He took over in 1994 and right away took him to a College World Series. He's been to 2 more since. And he's thinking this year's team might have that special mix that you need. Coming into this season, nobody really thought a whole lot of them. They thought they'd be middle of the pack in the ACC, but boy, have they surged. With a 13-8 ACC mark, 11 wins over top 25 teams this year. In the air out toward right center field, pretty deep toward the gap, and the wind whistling out that way. Wilhite and Radcliffe look up to watch it sail. It's a home run for Hawkins.
Good piece of hitting right there. Breaking ball out over the plate. Hit it up in the wind stream, and now it's a 2-1 game, cutting back down that deficit.
He goes the opposite way out toward right center field. The wind wasn't blowing quite as hard as it was in the first inning, but enough to knock it out of here as Hawkins has his 5th home run of the season. Just a hanger.
Hanging breaking ball up in the zone. Didn't try to do too much with it. Knew the wind was blowing out. Was able to just put a good barrel to it, and now the deficit's 2-1.
So dangerous when you leave that curveball up like that. It's like sitting on a tee for a batter, and the freshman DH drills it out toward right as here's a little soft one-hopper toward short. Waddell, long run in, makes the play out number 2. Bo Mikowski set down on the bouncing ball to short.
Again, though, you see his veteran presence being able to settle down, realize, hey, the wind's blowing out. 1-run home runs are not going to beat me today. Throw a fastball in there, quality strike, and 1 pitch, 1 out.
You and I talked about that before the broadcast today off mic about how Curry at times this year has had a tendency to give up some solo home runs. But you immediately said, well, those don't kill you.
They don't beat you. 1-run home runs don't beat you most of the time. I know Curry's had some no decisions in here in his, so far this year, but if you're giving up one-run home runs, you got a chance. But if you're walking guys or hitting a guy, then that becomes a 3-run homer. And that's when those crooked numbers happen, and usually your offense doesn't play as well behind you after that happens.
Justin Hawkins fouls it back.
Now, Hawkins is a guy that hadn't started most of the year and got a spot start last weekend against Duke and did some productive things and was able to hit a grand slam in one of their games last weekend to tie it up before losing. And he's done a good job this week so far. So, example of a guy taking advantage of his opportunities.
Ground ball toward third. There's Webb with a shoestring grab. Throws across a bit wide, but a great play by Michael Goldberg at first to spin the tag on Hawkins coming by him. Solo home run by Briar Hawkins. We go to the bottom of the second. Yellow Jackets by a run. 2-1 your score. Georgia Tech leading Clemson in this Friday night ACC showdown. It'll be the bottom third of the Yellow Jackets order. And all W's, Wilhite, Webb, and Wilhite. As the first pitch from the freshman Davis Sharp is high and tight across the shoulder of Austin Wilhite, the junior second baseman. And there's a strike on the outside corner. It's 1-1.
As you know, so that fastball looked like a cut, but actually his fastball, his four-seam is a fastball that cuts across and two-seam goes into a righty. Talking to Coach C before the game, nothing he throws is straight. So you might mistake that for a cut fastball.
One hopper towards second. Green's throw to Bird. A bit low, but Bird able to fish it out, and there's a man away.
Now batting number 35.
You know, movement is something for pitchers that a lot of it you just can't really teach. You can make changes in grip, you can make changes in arm action, but sometimes movement just comes natural. And you're talking about how Davis Sharp doesn't throw anything straight. I think for him, it's just one of those things that he came by naturally.
Yeah, naturally. And some guys are more natural than others. Usually left-handers, me being a lefty, ball moves away from a righty just naturally, just the way the world works. But some guys are real touch-and-feel guys like Greg Maddox with the Braves here locally in town. You know, he could manipulate a baseball like no other. And some other guys, if they manipulate it, they can't throw it for a strike. So everybody's a little bit different. Not everybody's the same, but I think it's a great assessment by you.
The batter is Jackson Webb. He lays down a bunt on the third base side. It's the pitcher Sharp to field it and gets him by a step at first, 2 men away.
Again, you see his athleticism right there. Two-way player, being able to barehand that ball and throw him out. Not as big a deal for him. We'll probably see him play first base on Sunday.
He's seen some time at first and DHing this year. They don't start him at first a whole lot because, obviously, being a starting pitcher on Friday, you don't want to wear him down. Being a two-way guy, it's a strategy that a lot of teams will take.
We don't want him out there making throws the day after he threw 100 pitches.
True.
So DH that day, let him play first on the after a day of rest, and maybe get him one more day if you have 2 midweek games, depending on who you need in the lineup.
The other Will Height, Nick, is in the left-hand batter's box. Will Height, a .264 hitter on the year. 19 runs batted in, takes a strike. And it's 1-2. It's the 9 spot of the Yellow Jackets order. Here in the bottom of the second. Low and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes on the junior center fielder.
1-2 right there. Tough change-up. Not a bad pitch. Good job by the hitter staying off that pitch.
Georgia Tech scored twice in the first. Clemson added 1 in the second. And Will Height stays alive to keep it even at 2 each way. Sharp trying to settle in and find his groove after he thought he was out of the first inning. It was 1-0 and an error by Grayson Bird over at first on a throw from Jordan Green, a ground ball to second that looked like the final out. Got through his glove. There's a swing and a miss on a high one. Will Height climbs the ladder with him and comes up empty-handed. So a strikeout ends a 1-2-3 frame for Georgia Tech. To the third, it's the Yellow Jackets 2 and Clemson 1. Top 3. Georgia Tech leading Clemson here in the series opener. 2-1. Yellow Jackets leading at home. Georgia Tech winners of 6 straight ACC series, while Clemson has dropped 7 straight games in conference play after an 11-3 start to the year. In the ACC, Xavion Curry with a run on a hit, and he faces Jordan Green, who watches a strike. Fort Mill, South Carolina native. Green, the senior. 0-1 pitch. Called strike, 0-2.
He's going to be hard to hit tonight if he can throw that pitch in the outside corner like that. Still the best pitch in baseball. Well-located fastball on the knees away. You
see Jordan Green hitting right at the Mendoza line. And the 0-2 pitch from Zay Curry. Line drive, left field, base hit. And misplayed in left field by Hall, as it bounces a couple of steps behind him and allows Green to head to second. Single and an error on Colin Hall in left. Here you see it again. Just right to him. He was picking it up on the bounce. And it spins right off the forearm and away.
Here's a great example of two located fastballs, and you think you just throw one by him there after he takes two in a row, and he kind of baited him into it, throws him a third one, and squares it up there.
So a runner at second to lead off the Clemson third here. It'll bring up Teodosio, sophomore center fielder. The 19-year-old from Simpsonville, South Carolina. Of course, a lot of these players are pretty familiar with one another. having grown up in the same general area. A lot of Georgia natives over in the Clemson first base dugout, including their starting pitcher, Davis Sharp. A lot of guys from Georgia make the trip up 85 and go to Clemson. And heavily recruited by both sides, too. As there's one bounced in the dirt. In fact, my partner, Matthew Crownover, I know you were recruited by Georgia Tech as well as Clemson and chose to go to Clemson.
Yes. Both these states have great summer ball programs between East Cobb here in Georgia and the Diamond Devils in South Carolina. There's a lot of great prep baseball programs and high school programs that these kids get seen by, and which allows them more opportunities in college to play.
Curry deals his 1-0. Pulls back on a bunt. And they appeal down to first where Olindo Matia says he went. He didn't pull back in time. It's 1-1.
You see Teodosio back in the lineup now. He missed last week's games with an injury. And you see here a respect to Curry at the third inning, 9-hole batter up with a guy with 8 home runs laying down a sacrifice bunt. It tells you what the runs that are going to be at a premium today.
Takes chin high inside for ball 2. By the way, the umpires today, Barry Chambers behind home plate, Olindo Matia at first base, Derek Malika at second, and Zach Neff at third, your 4-man ACC umpiring crew for this weekend series. Two and one across the letters inside, ball 3.
3 of those balls right there, Kyle, have missed arm side high. A little bit of a timing issue, maybe when his foot hits the ground at foot strike, being a little lower than normal. Maybe something to do with Teodosio squaring around, just messed up his mental outlook on it.
3-1. And the count runs full.
Good job of getting back in the zone there. 3-2, big pitch right here. If you're Curry, you're hoping you get him out without a guy advancing to third. If you're Teodosio, just trying to put the ball in play and move him over to third with less than 2 outs.
Wind is picked up again, blowing across the outfield left to right. And with a runner at second and nobody away, Curry stares into Kyle McCann to get the signs. And now the payoff. Back to the screen. We'll do it again.
You see Curry swipe his chest there, Kyle. That means he was shaking to something he wanted to. So probably the breaking ball called there, 3-2. Shook to a fastball. Almost got it by him there.
You saw the flags in center. The wind stretching the stars and stripes. Some storms rolled through the Atlanta area yesterday. And with that now, today, a breezy one here in late April. And the payoff pitch from Curry to Teodosio on the way. Strike 3 called. Got him looking on a fastball.
Very good pitch right there. Stayed with his heater. Was able to get him looking.
Let's see it again. Might have been close.
Now batting for the Tigers, number 5.
Looks like it's over the plate on the knees. Just it looks like maybe not a strike to the batter there. And from the Clemson's perspective, probably because the catcher was sitting with the inside corner and had to reach across the plate. But definitely over the plate. Probably too close to take right there, I'd say, Kyle.
Yeah, it looked like he missed his spot but still got the K. McCann had to reach across his body, like you said, back across the dish. So back to the top of the order, Sam Hall, who grounded out to third on the first pitch of the day. That was a big out for Curry. Now one away with a runner at second. And the pitch. Breaking ball outside.
Again, Sam Hall swung at the first pitch of the game and hit it pretty hard to third. Now you see the different approach, the cat and mouse game between the pitcher there. First pitch breaking ball with the runner in scoring position because Hall showed the ability to jump on a fastball and count.
One 1-0 pitch. Down and out on the speedy Sam Hall. You do not want him getting on base. Certainly by himself. He has 27 steals in 30 tries this year. 27 steals, most for a Clemson player since 1999. It's been a long time. And there's still plenty of season left. He waits. Curry fires a 2-0. Ground ball to third. That one will scoot past Webb and into left field. They throw up the stop sign at third, so Clemson will hold up with runners on the corners. And they're in business here with one away in the top half of the third inning.
Good job there by Hall of sitting on a 2-0 fastball, not doing too much with it. Now runners on first and third. One out.
He didn't necessarily hit it hard. He just found a hole on the left side right between Webb and Waddell.
Now you see Coach Howell going out there to kind of break up the rhythm, tempo of this inning, trying to slow things down, kind of see where his thought process is here. I'm sure Coach Howell calls the pitches and is the one that has the scouting report here, see what they want to do with Davidson. This is the guy in the Clemson lineup you don't want to let beat you. This guy's going to probably be a future first-rounder, top round pick at shortstop here, and don't want to make a mistake with a windy day and turn this lead around.
It's a very ACC feel on this coaching staff for Georgia Tech. Jason Howell, former North Carolina hurler, in his 7th year now as the pitching coach under Danny Hall, and James Ramsey, former star and first-round pick out of Florida State, now in his first season as the hitting coach for the Yellow Jackets. So here's Logan Davidson. Curry's pitch to him, breaks down to the mud, and it's ball one. Runners at the corners for Clemson. Jordan Green stands 90 feet away as the potential tying run here early. And Davidson stares down at his third base coach to get the signs. Quick pickoff throw to first. Hall wasn't a step off the bag, though, and is easily able to get back standing. Another spin and fire, this time back on his stomach.
Again, the threat of a stolen base, though, it's another thing to think about when you're pitching. So the thought of the guy getting second with him already having 27 stolen bases could leave a ball up in the zone.
Keeping him close over there at first. I mentioned Sam Hall with 27 steals, the best season on the base paths since 1999. So it's been 20 years since somebody had that many steals in a season for Clemson. Strike in there at the knees. And it's 1-1 on Logan Davidson, who hit one fairly well his first time up, a line out to center, a running grab by Nick Wilhite, charging in from straightaway center field. Davidson's riding a 39-game on-base streak, which is really impressive.
You got to be impressed with the way he stands in the box there. You see how under control he is. He's got a plan, how still his body is, his head, when he's up there at the plate. Never looks like he's lost up there.
His 11th home run of the season came on Wednesday against Tennessee Tech, a 7-4 win. There goes the runner from first. Pitches downstairs, throw to second, got him! Just the 4th time this year that Sam Hall has been cut down on the bases, but Kyle McCann shows off the cannon, and Hall is out number 2 on the caught stealing.
What a great job of McCann there on a throw. Low pitch, hard to handle. Threw him out by pretty good ways there. Again, though, how do you hold runners on? How do you keep that from happening? Is by holding the baseball, varying the amount of time you hold the ball, and by picking over quite a bit there. So now there's what a big change in momentum there. Now it's 2 outs, 2 strikes on the batter.
1-2 pitch, breaks to the inside edge for a called strike.
Must have been a 2-1 count there before.
I think it even fooled Barry Chambers there. It looked like he was about to punch him out, didn't
Yeah.
it? Then he paused and said, oh, no, that's just 1 strike. 1-2 pitch. Misses inside. And the count will run full now, 3-2. I think we put the caught stealing pitch that was downstairs down as a strike instead of a ball. Maybe because McCann threw a perfect strike down to second and we got confused there.
Possibly.
3-2, 2 away, the pitch. Line drive right side, base hit into right field off the sidewall, and it heads all the way to the wall. So Davidson will tie this game up with an RBI double into the right field corner, scoring Green from third. On a payoff pitch, he ropes one just inside the paint down the right field line. And it's all knotted up here in the third at 2-2.
What a great job of hitting right there. 3-2 breaking ball, understanding that there's a base open, so Curry's not going to give in to him, and he stays back and hits a line drive down the line. That's what you need with your leaders to step up in these times when you're struggling in ACC play, and what a good job there.
And again, another curveball that got a lot of the plate there and stayed up for a long time. As there's a swing and a miss on Bird. Grayson Bird, a strikeout victim back in the first. But twice now we've seen Curry leave that breaking ball up, and Briar Hawkins hit a home run back in the second inning that made it 2-1. And now on a 3-2 pitch, the double by Logan Davidson to tie it up. Pitch to Bird. Skips home, and it's a ball and a strike.
You know, make no mistake about it, this Clemson lineup is lower in the ACC and overall average, but it's a very potent lineup. It can strike at any moment. They're able to hit quite a many home runs and drive the ball on the gas for doubles. So you're never out of the game when you can hit the ball on the gaps.
Bird fouls it back. Saw Grayson Bird's father, Paul Bird, in the stands today. Paul Bird, the former Major League hurler, now an analyst on the Atlanta Braves TV. Stretching a 1-2 pitch to Grayson Bird. Swung on and missed, strike three, and so that'll end it. Second strikeout, actually make it third strikeout of the day for Xavion Curry. But Clemson ties things up on the 2-out, 2-strike double. On to the bottom of the fourth. New ball game. To the bottom of the third inning we go here in Midtown Atlanta, all tied up at 2 each way. And it's sort of a similar story for each of these two pitchers, but opposites. For Davis Sharp, he was struggling with his command early on, walked a couple of Yellow Jackets in the first inning. Georgia Tech scored twice without the benefit of a hit. 2 runs on no hits so far for Georgia Tech as the top of the order, Luke Waddell, watches outside. And then Sharp settled in and got a 1-2-3 second. Well, for Xavion Curry, he retired 6 of the first 7 batters he faced. And then it was a bit of a struggle in the third to get through, but was able to limit the damage. And here we are now, all tied up at 2 through 2.5 innings. Kyle Tate with Matthew Crownover, former Clemson pitcher who spent some pro ball time in the Nationals organization as well. You may remember him as a star for the Clemson rotation a couple of years ago. 2013, 14, and 15. Now proud to have him up here in the booth at Russ Chandler Stadium as the 2-1 to Waddell in for a strike.
Good to be here. You see a good example right there on the 0-1 pitch. I mean the 1-0 pitch, 2 straight fastballs that cut inside that really messed with Waddell.
Swung on and fouled back. Wilkie will give it a long look, but it's into the seats.
Sharp was able to really settle down there in the second inning, get the 7, 8, 9 hole batters out. Now, second time through the order, let's see what his approach is about how he attacks these batters with his off-speed pitches.
2-2 to Waddell. Got one up, fights it off. It'll stay there at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Late season ACC play. Just 9 conference games remain for each of these two teams. Georgia Tech trying to stay atop the Coastal Division. They're tied at 13-8 with North Carolina. 2-2 bounced foul as Clemson is trying to work their way back up to the top now that they've dropped 7 straight games in conference. And after an 11-3 start to conference play, now we're 11-10.
I think it just speaks to the depth of this conference now. Used to you maybe had 1 or 2 teams that were above everybody else. Everybody else was trying to fight for number 3 in the conference, but now you see it kind of right around 500. Each team, 20 wins is probably going to win it on both sides. If you could get above 20, probably going to win your side, either the Atlantic or the Coastal of the conference.
And it's certainly not the way Clemson and head coach Monty Lee expected this season to go after early April, first week of April. They take the first two against Louisville as Waddell bounces this one 2 hops to second for Jordan Green to take care of. And after a 9-pitch at bat, there's a man down. But they take the first two against Louisville on April 5th, April 6th, 5-1, 6-3. Things going along swimmingly. And then the turning point for them, Game 3, April 7th. A 7-4 loss in 10 innings to Louisville. And that's when this 7-game losing streak for Clemson all started. Since then, they've lost 3 in a row to Florida State. They lost 3 in a row to Duke, swept by each of those two teams the last 2 weekends, and Clemson right now just reeling, trying to find their way back into the win column in conference play.
Yes, I was there for all 3 games against Louisville. They played very well that series, but now just trying to get back in the win column here.
It's worth noting that each of these two teams have a series win against Louisville, a team that's only lost 6 games in the ACC this year. 4 of those represented on this field. 2 for Georgia Tech, 2 for Clemson. They're a top 10 team. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech creeping up that way, up to number 13 in the country now. 2-1 pitch. Hacked at and missed.
See Coach Lee getting a lot of work early. Looks like the designated ball boy for the day. He's gone out there and got 3 or 4 balls, getting his steps in.
Break even 2-2 in the dirt. And another full count here. See that pitch count starting to get up for Davis Sharp. That was his 53rd pitch of the afternoon, and we're only in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Stares into the shadows for the signs and then steps off to have his catcher Kyle Wilkie start over again. And now the payoff, ground ball towards short, rolled over to Davidson. Has it, 2-tap, throw to first, 2 down.
Again, big pitch right there. The biggest thing there, Kyle, first bat of the inning is out. Twice.
He has yet to give up a hit to the Yellow Jackets so far through now 11 batters. And it's just those walks in the first, a couple of early mistakes from the freshman in walking Waddell and walking this man, Kyle McCann, to put 2 men aboard, then a balk early. And that allowed Georgia Tech to score a couple of runs on a sac fly and an error. McCann waves and misses. Strike 1. So Georgia Tech had a 2-0 lead without a hit. And now we're all tied up here in the 3rd. And, especially for a freshman, but for any pitcher, early on, that error that he thought was the final out of that first inning that allowed another run to come in, that can completely throw off your entire day. As you see the huge shift on McCann again with 3 men to the right. That can completely throw off a pitcher's entire day, especially for a freshman. But from that point, he's retired. Now 6 in a row, including a strikeout looking of Colin Hall, to end that inning, to get out of it, and move on. And now he seems to be on cruise control.
Again, that's what you need out of a guy that's going to throw on Friday night. Things aren't always going to go your way. You've got to be able to take the good with the bad, know that there's going to be times where you're not going to throw your best, but your offense is going to be able to score 4 or 5 runs and get you off the hook. So you got to know that your guys are playing the best they can behind you and just the best you can.
1-2. Wind and fire, high and tight, 2-2. One word stands out in our open that you used to describe Davis Sharp, and that was composure. Impressive composure from a freshman, and there aren't a lot of freshmen in the ACC or in the country, for that matter, who have the composure to be able to bounce back from that early adversity. 2-2 pitches fouled away.
Again, listen, Davis Sharp was highly recruited. He came to Clemson or to ACC or SEC school for this reason, to be able to pitch on Friday night, to be able to hit in big situations, So he's played a lot of big games in his life, and this is what all that preparation is got him ready for.
Here's his break-even 2-2. Kyle McCann watches one just off the corner away, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Good eye by McCann right there. Ball was probably 2 or 3 ball lengths off.
Mentioned Sharp, a Georgia native out of Mill Creek High School in Decula. Played a lot of good high school baseball up there in Gwinnett County. Was a 34th round pick out of high school by the Pittsburgh Pirates. 3-2 pitch. Wave and a miss. Strike 3. And another 1-2-3 inning for Davis Sharp as he got McCann to go after a high and soft one. So 7 in a row set down by Sharp. We go to the 4th. All tied up at a pair. Top half of the 4th inning. Tied up at 2. Georgia Tech and Clemson in a series opener. Kyle Tate and Matthew Crownover alongside here at Russ Chandler Stadium. The Atlanta skyline dotting out beyond the outfield wall. But here tucked away on the campus of the Georgia Institute of Technology. A beautiful ballpark. Seats just north of 4,000 fans, and a lot for both teams here. This, of course, a cross-division rivalry, Georgia Tech and Clemson. Not far at all, up 85 in Clemson, South Carolina, and a lot of fans wearing orange here, especially on the first base side behind the Clemson dugout. Xavion Curry facing Kyle Wilkie in the cleanup spot to start this top of the 4th. And it's off the tip of the glove of McCann. The mitt, I'm sorry, it's not a glove for a catcher, it's a mitt.
It's a mitt.
Yeah.
It's okay, though. We've already seen Wilkie put a good swing on the ball, line drive to third base to start the 2nd.
It was a leaping stab by Jackson Webb over there, a fine play after a great at-bat by Wilkie. It took 9 pitches to set him down. High and tight, ball 3 has to spin out of the way.
3-0 count, not the way you want to start your 4th inning right there. We saw Curry make some good pitches, though, last inning. Just he couldn't put guys away. Twice he had 0-2, 1-2 counts and gave up hits.
And it's 3 balls and a strike now, as Wilkie taking all the way on that 3-0. Xavion Curry, a two-way player in high school. He was a shortstop as well as a pitcher. This one out toward right center field. Radcliffe won't get there. It'll one-hop the wall. Plays it on the bounce. Wilkie scrambling for second. Close play, but the ball skips away behind Waddell at short. And so it's a leadoff double for Kyle Wilkie. He's hit 2 balls hard today. The line out to third, and now the double the opposite way to right center.
Again, good piece of hitting right there, but again, you're in a hitter's count, 3-1, no fastballs coming. Able to hit it in the gap there.
So here's Briar Hawkins, who hit one out that way back in the 2nd, and the wind took it up and out of here for a solo home run. First Clemson run of the day. They've since tied it up on Logan Davidson's run-scoring double.
He was another bat that they missed last week. Hawkins and Teodosio both being out of the lineup.
Here's the pitch. Fastball downstairs, 1-0. Xavion Curry, though, we talked off mic before the game. A two-way player in high school, a shortstop and a pitcher, and there's a big difference in college, and you can typically tell the difference between a thrower and a pitcher. And Curry is in that transition right now where he's starting to learn how to pitch and not just throw the ball. As this one soft toward third, but misplayed by Webb, and all hands on deck, safe.
Tough ball to handle right there. Had a little English on it, looked like a cue shot and pull. Wasn't able to get his handle on it. And now runners at first and third, nobody out for the Tigers.
Tough high bouncer, and on that transition from glove to hand, Hawkins is safe at first with no throw. So some trouble here for Curry. But talking about that difference, most pitchers in high school are just throwers. They have some idea of the mechanics down, but as you get older, as you figure out your mechanics, you figure out how to really pitch. You get that mind of a pitcher. What was that transition like for you, Matt Crownover, in trying to really become a pitcher and eventually get through college and into pro ball?
We got a safety squeeze right there.
When bunted away by Mikowski
Absolutely.
for strike 1.
Interesting call right there. I would say both my parents are high school coaches, so at a very young age, I learned how to pitch. Being left-handed, I was a guy that had a pretty decent fastball, but I never threw 95, so I had to be able to locate the fastball, both in and out, up and down, locate the changeup. The guy I liked watching growing up was Tom Glavine. So throwing those 2 pitches primarily was my key to me. And I didn't really throw much of a breaking ball till I was in high school, but yeah, you've got to locate your fastball first and foremost if you're going to be successful in this game.
And a lot of those hard throwers, guys like Curry, who can get up into the mid-90s, 95, 96, they do tend to be more of throwers because in high school they can blow it by guys as McCann will go out and try to settle them in here with runners on the corner and nobody out. But they can blow it by you so they don't necessarily have to learn how to pitch until later when guys can catch up to that fastball.
You're exactly right. The rise of the fastball velocity is the last 4 or 5 years, even since I've left college, is on the rise. I mean, everybody throws 92, 93 now. That's just a stock fastball now. We used to say stock righties were 87, 88. Now they're stock 91, 92. As we see Georgia Tech's bullpen get going now, not waiting around to see what would happen.
Stretch and a 1-1 pitch from Curry to Mikowski, and it's outside for ball 2.
Mikowski's one of the 3 outfielders out here today, a very young group that it's hard to replace a guy like Seth Beer power-wise, but they are as athletic as they can be out there. They made the Louisville series, I was there 3 weeks ago, they made 4 or 5 ESPN top 10 plays out there. So very athletic group of guys.
(2-1) to Mikowski, fouled away. You mentioned the name Seth Beer, and he was a first-rounder last year, 28th overall by the Astros, and was a star at Clemson, tore apart the ACC for his time in an orange uniform. And you're right, trying to replace that bat in the lineup. Georgia Tech trying to face a similar uphill climb with a first-rounder of their own and Joey Bart exiting the lineup. They've done okay with that with Kyle McCann and Tristan English picking up the slack in the heart. But it's the challenge for a college coach with the turnover. Every 2 to 3 years you're going to have that recycling of talent, trying to figure out who's going to fill that big hole in the lineup. And for Clemson, it's Beer. For Georgia Tech, it's Joey Bart.
Make no mistake about it. It's a basketball term. It's more about the Jimmys and the Joes and the X's and the O's. If you can recruit, usually you're a pretty good coach. If you can't recruit and get the guys there, usually you're not a very good coach.
3-2 pitch is swung on and missed. And Mikowski is retired for out number 1. Big K for Xavier Curry. Let's see it again on a 3-2 pitch here. He just blows it by him, challenges him maybe on the outer half of the plate.
3-2 fastball, able to blow it by him up in the zone.
So Justin Hawkins, the batter. Third baseman, grounded out to his position in his first trip. Double play depth up the middle. If they can hit it there, Georgia Tech can get out of it. It's outside for ball 1.
Again, got to give a lot of credit to Curry, though, being able to, as we like to say, bow his neck right there. He was able to bear down and get a guy out, get a strikeout when he needed it. Now he's got multiple options how to get out of this inning. Ground ball, double play, pop up, 2 more strikeouts.
And there's ball 2. He fell behind to Wilkie, fell behind to Hawkins. Now he's fallen behind to the other Hawkins, Justin. Runners on the corners and 1 away as a spin and a throw to first. Xavier Curry, the junior out of Atlanta. Tried his prep ball at Mays. Finds the bottom edge of the zone there on Hawkins for strike 1.
Looked like that ball surprised Hawkins on the other third. It looked like he was looking fastball away to get his hands extended.
(2-1) pitch. Wave and a miss, 2-2.
Big cut by Hawkins there. Tried to hit the Brock football facility out there with that one.
So the count is even at 2 each way. Set at the belt buckle, and the pitch is off the plate away. Another full count. That's back-to-back that have gone full against Xavier Curry now.
Don't know if we'll see any action over at first base from Hawkins, where he hadn't attempted a solo base this year, but might try to get him moving and stay out of the double play.
Three-two pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Foul tipped it, but McCann holds on. And back-to-back strikeouts now for Xavier Curry as he gets Mikowski and gets Hawkins. Both good at bats, but both come up empty against Curry. And again, they were two fastballs.
Again, if you're Coach Lee, you're saying, guys, just relax, put the ball in play. Easier said than done, especially easier up here in the booth if you're not playing. But that's the things you've got to do to get back in the win column in ACC play. You can't come up empty with the guys in first and third, nobody out.
So here's Green. Singleton scored in his first trip. It's down low, ball one.
See the breaking ball right there. He went 3 straight fastballs to Green the first time up, and Green jumped on an 0-2 fastball that Curry would like to have back. So change of pace there with the breaking ball.
Yeah, he lined it out to left field, too, on an 0-2 fastball. He was sitting dead red, and Colin Hall misplayed it and left. That allowed him to reach second as he takes a strike, even at 1.
Again, right there, the threat of throwing another off-speed pitch for a strike causes Green to take that pitch right there. Probably if he sees first pitch fastball, he's jumping all over that one on the 1-0 pitch.
Xavier Curry trying to keep this thing tied. They were on the corners, nobody out. Now on the corners, 2 out. As McCann calls time.
Talking to the coaches before the game, Coach Howell and Coach Hall, they just gave Curry a lot of credit about how he pitches with people in scoring position, being able to limit the damage. He's looking to do that again here.
There goes the runner from first, down and in. McCann thought about it, but instead stares down Wilkie at third. So with 2 outs here, they'll be at second and third now.
Probably a good decision there by McCann. A breaking ball inside corner, not a great ball to handle. Not the greatest lane to throw the ball to second. Why risk throwing it away after your pitchers work so hard to get 2 outs?
Good stop there by Kyle McCann. Sliding to his right, now 3-1. Georgia Tech has won 6 straight ACC series, but so far this year in conference play, they're 2-5 on Friday night. Curry trying to turn that around. And getting out of this inning unscathed would go a long way. 3-1. Strike 2. 3 straight full counts, though, here in the 4th, so he's laboring to do it. Now up over 70 pitches in 3 2/3 innings.
I tell you, Kyle, though, if you're going to throw that 3-1, you got to be willing to throw it 3-2. So with a base open to a veteran hitter, might see him try to hit his pitch.
Last two hitters have gone full against him, and he's punched him out on fastballs, challenging both, swinging. Now the 3-2. Breaking ball, popped up, out toward left. Long run for Colin Hall, loses the cap in the wind, but he makes the catch, and Xavier Curry wiggles his way out of the jam. They were at the corners with nobody out, and Curry gets through it to the bottom of the 4th, still tied. Round and round we go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Just like the Skyview across town over by Centennial Olympic Park. As we go to the last of the 4th, somebody trying to break through here in a 2-2 tie game. Georgia Tech trying to break through in the hit column. They scored 2 in the bottom of the 1st, thanks to a couple of walks, a balk, and an error. And they haven't gotten a hit yet against the freshman Davis Sharp. They'll try to change that here with English, Radcliffe, and Hall. The middle third of the order. English got the scoring started with a sacrifice fly in the opening frame. And he takes a curveball that floats over the plate for strike 1.
Again, what a great job by Curry pitching out of that jam right there and swinging the momentum back in Georgia Tech's dugout.
Hot shot left side, base hit. Tristan English with a base hit, and just like that, Georgia Tech has a base runner here in the fourth, and they're into the hit column. Misplayed for a moment by Sam Hall out in left, but he was able to recover. That one left up, and English rips it through the hole for a base knock. And if you were going to guess at which Georgia Tech hitter would break through in that hit column first, the way ACC play has gone, you figured it would be Tristan English, up near 400 in conference play so far. Here's Barron Radcliffe taking one up and out.
See Sharp getting a little disgusted with himself right there on that last pitch. The last two pitches have been up in the zone. His hand separation has been a little bit later than he'd want.
Radcliffe watches upstairs, ball two. Barron Radcliffe, the sophomore, starting to come into his own as a hitter for the Yellow Jackets. Reached on an error back in the first, but you can see the patience that maybe through his freshman year playing in reserve roles and now becoming the starter in right, seeing a lot more pitches at the plate. Early on, he just got a steady diet of curveballs. It was curveball after curveball after curveball, and pitchers just said, I'll keep throwing them to you until you can show you can lay off them. Here's the 2-1. Above the belt inside, ball three.
Again, you see that fastball right there that's cutting across the plate. Looked like it tied up the batter there, but again, in a 2-1 count, you don't swing at that. So now it's 3-1, sitting on a fastball count.
English sneaks to a lead at first, and the pitch. Fastball foul tipped. Hacks away, full count.
(3-2). Radcliffe's got to feel like a fastball's coming. Sharp not wanting to go up a free base and have two on, nobody out.
Payoff pitch. Ground ball right side. It was a fastball into the hole. Green stabs at it and gets the out at first. That's his only play. English advances, one man down. It's the 226th meeting all time between Clemson and Georgia Tech. The first was way back in 1902. Long history with these two programs and a long rivalry. Clemson leads the all-time series 114-109 with three ties in there. Colin Hall, the batter, and rips it toward third on a one-hopper out of the glove of Hawkins. He pulled up too quickly. And so two Yellow Jackets aboard with one down in the fourth.
Hawkins probably like to have that one back right there. Looked like he kind of played it, let the ball play him instead of him playing it. But tough play. You'd hope he'd catch it, though, if you're the pitcher.
Hall goes the opposite way with this one. And here you see the play again at third. Just pulled up too quick on that short hop. They haven't put a ruling up on the board yet on whether that's a hit or an error, and now they have. They will call it an E5 on Hawkins. So on the corners for Wilhite, and the pitch to him. Bunted at and missed. Pickoff throw to first, but Hall back standing.
Again, we see another example of both teams trying the safety squeeze. And when you do the safety squeeze, you want to bunt the ball anywhere but right back to the pitcher. If you bunt it just 3 or 4 steps to the right or left of the pitcher, usually it's a pretty successful play.
There you saw behind Austin Wilhite, Danny Hall going through the signs. Let's see if the squeeze is still on. The 0-1 pitch. No, it's a full swing, and strike two. Now Sharp is up over 70 pitches for the day. And the 2-strike pitch to Austin Wilhite. Plateward, down and out. Went with the same pitch, and this time Wilhite able to lay off it. Mentioned Clemson has the slight edge in the all-time series, but when they're played at Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets have a healthy lead, 74-44 all-time against Clemson here in Atlanta. Pickoff throw. Nothing doing?
Sounds like a UNC Duke series. How close basketball.
Yeah. 226 meetings and just 5 games separate the two teams. Two balls and 2 strikes. I think until this year that North Carolina-Duke basketball series was tied.
50-50.
Yeah, perfectly even.
The last 100 times they played.
Break even 2-2. Ground ball foul.
But we talk about great coaching in ACC. We talk about Clemson with Coach Wilhelm and Coach Leggett, and now Coach Lee. We got to talk about Georgia Tech too, with Jim Morris, who's a Hall of Fame coach, just retired this past year, and Coach Hall. And you can't state enough. People kind of overlook Coach Hall in the pecking order of ACC hierarchy, but he's had a great career and won a lot of ACC regular season titles and postseason.
Wilhite watches down and out, 3-2 now.
C Sharp going from 0-2 to 3-2, really trying to get the swing and miss strikeout. Now he's just got to try to get this guy out.
You talked earlier for coaches too. To be a great coach, you have to be a great recruiter. And think about all the names that have come through these two schools.
Well, at Georgia Tech alone, 14 first-round draft picks since Coach Hall's been here. That's almost one a year.
And Jason Veritek and Nomar Garcia-Parra in the early days. More recently, Matt Wieters. Fly ball out toward right. Mikowski going back, just shy of the warning track, sets up in the sunshine and makes the catch. English will tag and score from third, and Georgia Tech back on top here in the fourth with the sacrifice fly by Wilhite.
Again, you see an example of Clemson not being able to hit with the runners in scoring position, and Georgia Tech being able to. Now it's a 3-2 game.
But talking about that, the ability to recruit for each of these two schools, it's been incredible. I mean, if you look at the list, there was a stat I found earlier that Clemson, going all the way back to the mid-'70s, 1974 to 2015, the Clemson roster has had at least one future big leaguer on it. For 40 years, the Clemson roster has had at least one future big leaguer on it each and every year. I mean, that's an incredible run. And, of course, we don't know how 16, 17, 18, and 19 will turn out because those guys are still playing in the minors, working their way up. But you have to figure that a guy like Seth Beer will, of course, make his major league debut probably sooner rather than later. But, I mean, to go 41 years and have that many big leaguers on your roster year in and year out just shows the ability to recruit in Clemson, South Carolina. And you mentioned earlier just 3 coaches in a 50-plus year span.
You've got to be able to, in recruiting, win over people. You know, you recruit to the university. You want to go for a certain school, but you commit to 3 or 4 years as a player to the person that's in charge of that place. You don't want to go somewhere that the coach might be on the hot seat. Here at Georgia Tech and Clemson, there's been a lot of stability in the programs. And I know when I went through my recruitment process, I wanted to go somewhere that a coach, you felt like he was going to be there and he was invested in your career and he was invested in that school.
It's 2-1 on Jackson Webb, and of course, Matthew Crownover, my partner, played for great Jack Leggett. Swinging a fly ball deep center field. Teodosio, though, will slow up and make the grab a couple of steps shy of the warning track, and that'll retire the side. Georgia Tech, though, on a sacrifice fly, breaks the tie to the 5th. Yellow Jackets by 1. Georgia Tech with a fresh lead over Clemson. ESPN and the ACC bring you ACC Network coming August 2019. 15 universities, all on one network. Visit ACCN.com to learn more. That is getaccn.com for more. And as you see, the first football game that we'll see August 29th, these two teams, Georgia Tech and Clemson. The Yellow Jackets spring game going on this Friday night just across campus. First look for Yellow Jackets fans at the new system under Jeff Collins after Paul Johnson stepped aside following last year. So a lot going on right now here on the Flats. A softball game going on right across the way as well. And a new pitcher on the mound for Georgia Tech. The new man will deal to the outer half of the plate. It's Jonathan Hughes answering the call to the bullpen. Hughes replaces Xavion Curry, who's he really did a fine job of pitching out of jams later in his start. He exits because of that escalating pitch count, especially in the last few frames. Teodosio, the batter, is down in the count 0-2 against Hughes.
You know, Teodosio is one of those guys that really got going the Louisville series. Had multi-hit games there, and then he gets hurt in practice. So, a guy that the coaching staff was really liking the way he'd made strides going into the last week. Then he gets hurt. So, another guy that they were missing over that losing streak.
9-1-2 due up for Clemson against the new right-handed hurler for Georgia Tech, and a swing and a miss. It was good morning, good afternoon, and good night. And 2 strikeouts now for Teodosio as he tries to find his stride again following that short stint away. Here you see it again. And he slides one back across the plate for out number 1. You see the final line. I beg your pardon, Jonathan Hughes' season stats. 6-2 with a .331 earned run average. Good year for him so far. The redshirt junior out of Flowery Branch.
You know, it makes a big difference, Kyle, when you've got some confidence in guys coming out of the bullpen. You're willing to take your Friday night guy out of a game where he's right around 90 pitches in the 4th inning if you've got confidence in these guys to come in and do their job. Some years past, if you don't have enough guys in the bullpen to cover a big weekend series like this, you might have seen Curry stand there for 110, 120 pitches.
Down low, ball 2 on Sam Hall, the top of the order. Curry finished 4 full, gave up 2 runs on 6 hits. Had 5 strikeouts in that time, including 2 big ones in his final inning. With runners on the corners and nobody out, pitched to Hall in there for a strike. He got Mikowski and Hawkins swinging on 3-2 pitches and kept the game tied. He was able to get out of that inning with nothing allowed in the top of the 4th after Clemson put him on the corners and nobody away. 2-1 is down and in. It's 3-1 now on Teodosio. Or I beg your pardon, Hall. Curry threw 72 pitches in his start this afternoon and just couldn't quite get through that second time through the order without the pitch count sneaking up on him. 3-1 bounced foul, full count. Sam Hall, top of the order, 1 for 2 so far today. A single back in the 3rd. Takes his time stepping back in. Ground ball opposite way towards second. Wilhite to it, a few steps left, and has his man 2 down. Georgia Tech has 3 runs on 1 hit so far today. That hit didn't come until the bottom of the 4th by Tristan English. Came in to score on Wilhite's sacrifice fly. And that broke a 2-2 game. That's where we sit here in the top of the 5th, 3-2. The 13th ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets leading the until very recently ranked Clemson Tigers. They were number 20 as of last week. Batter Logan Davidson with 2 out and nobody on.
He came up big in the 3rd inning for the Tigers on a 3-2 breaking ball. Runners in second, third in scoring position.
They put the big shift on him with 3 men to the right of second. There you see the head coach of Clemson, Monty Lee. Clemson had 55 straight weeks of being ranked by at least 1 poll. Of course, you know, in college baseball there are endless polls across the country, it seems. What, 5 official polls in college baseball?
I think it's kind of like they used to do the national championship in football. Everybody could claim one.
2-1. Tried to call time, but it wasn't granted by the home plate umpire. No harm for him. It's 3-1 now on Logan Davidson. But Clemson had 55 consecutive weeks where they were ranked by at least 1 poll. Last time they weren't ranked was May 9th, 2016. It's been a long time. 3-1 pitch, check swing. He did not go, so it's a 2-out walk. First free pass issued by Georgia Tech pitching today. And a 2-out base runner leads to Grayson Bird.
Now batting for the Tigers,
The bearded Bird waits from the left-hand side and watches low and away for a ball.
At times, Kyle, Bird has really carried this offense for the Tigers. He's been able to have a lot of multi-hit games when other guys have not hit as well. So the senior has done a great job anchoring the middle of that order.
Hughes deals a 1-0. In the dirt inside, 2-0.
Good job on McCann, just being able to backhand that ball like a shortstop. A little self-defense, nothing like a 55-foot fastball.
Mentioned Grayson Bird, the son of Paul Bird. A number of these Clemson players have either big league or NFL ties on the team. Logan Davidson, the man down at first, as this one hacked and missed 2-1, is the son of a former major leaguer, Mark Davidson. He's got a World Series ring to show for it. Won the '87 World Series with the Twins. And then Bo Makowski, the son of Don Makowski, former Virginia football star, and then 10 years for the Packers, Colts, and Lions. 2-1. Ripped right side, base hit down the right field line. Could be extras for Bird. Davidson wheels around third. He's going to get the wave. Here comes the relay throw to the plate. McCann's tag on the money. What a throw. Oh, my, from Waddell. The relay throw cuts him down. The perfect tag by McCann. And Georgia Tech will stay out on the field because they're going to review this and make sure they got the call right at the plate. It was a bang-bang play at the dish. So the umpiring crew will get together on the third base side. They'll call for the official review, and let's see if we have a good angle on this one. Without a perfect throw, you don't even come close to getting it.
It's bang-bang. It may be hard to overturn. I mean, what a great relay right there from right field and hitting the second guy on the cut line. And what a throw, bang-bang.
Radcliffe to Waddell to McCann on the throw home. And like you said, it's going to be hard to overturn. The call on the field was out, and they have to have something indisputable here. They have to have an angle that definitively shows that he was safe at the plate, and I just don't know that you have that. And these are the angles that the umpires have down below, too.
Hard to tell right there when his foot hit and when he got touched on the knee. It's pretty bang-bang right there. I don't know if you can overturn that or not, but a huge play in this game.
And it was a perfect catch and swipe and tag by McCann.
Right. Perfect long
so close.
one hop right there.
So the umpires reviewing this one down beneath. It would tie the game if they do find an angle to overturn it. His foot sneaks into that corner of home plate. A split second after the tag, if. And now the umpires have come out. And indeed, they've confirmed the call. So the call is confirmed, the out at the plate made. We go to the last of the fifth. Georgia Tech still on top. Halfway to the house. Georgia Tech by a run thanks to the series of throws from right field to first base. It was actually Michael Goldberg on the throw to the plate, not Luke Waddell, my mistake. Goldberg with the perfect strike to home, and Kyle McCann with a beautiful catch, swipe, and tag all in one motion to cut down Logan Davidson on the bang-bang play at the plate and keep this lead preserved for Georgia Tech. Nick Wilhite, 9 spot of the order, takes outside for ball one. Kyle Tate and former Clemson hurler Matt Crownover here from Russ Chandler Stadium. Matt will be with us all weekend long. Andy Demetra has the call tomorrow in Game 2. As Georgia Tech will send Connor Thomas against Clemson's Matt Clark. Couple of southpaws tomorrow afternoon. And then on Sunday, Brant Herter against Brooks Crawford in a 1 o'clock finale. And Wilhite watches ball 4, so a leadoff walk to start the 5th from the freshman Davis Sharp. Takes us back to the top of the order in Waddell.
See Coach Seago out there. Looks like he's going to try to settle him down and give the bullpen a chance to get ready. Sam Weatherly, left-hander, getting loose down there in the pen for Clemson.
So a full visit. A host of orange jerseys out on the pitcher's mound. And Luke Waddell, the top of the order, who's reached on a walk so far in this one. Georgia Tech still with just 1 hit here tonight. That off the bat of Tristan English. Georgia Tech all the way up to as high as number 11 in the polls across the country. USA Today, number 13 in the land. And so the Yellow Jackets, who were unranked and picked middle of the pack in the ACC this year, have surprised a lot of people. And it's in large part thanks to their blistering bats, hitting .286 as a team. And a lot of power from McCann to English. In the heart of the order, you've had some pop from Barron Radcliffe as well. Waddell takes a strike on the outside corner. And through it all, Luke Waddell has done a fine job at the top of the order, pacing the Yellow Jackets. Second highest average on the team at .318. The freshman deals his 0-1, and it hits the bottom edge, strike 2. Huge disparity in the hit column. Clemson with 7 hits, Georgia Tech with 1, and yet the Yellow Jackets have the lead.
Again, taking advantage of their own opportunities they've had.
One and two on the Georgia Tech shortstop. Waddell took over shortstop full-time back on March 9th. 1-2 pitch is outside, and it's 2-2. A native of Loveland, Ohio, a suburb of Cincinnati. It reminded me of another shortstop that played at Georgia Tech back in the late 2000s, Derek Dietrich, another Ohio native. He was from Parma, Ohio.
The Cincinnati Reds now.
Yep. Right in his own backyard. Drafted by the Rays in the first round and then made his debut with Tampa Bay and then made his way up through the Marlins organization to the big leagues. Three-two pitch, runner goes from first, grounded foul. Kicks off the sidewall, we'll do it again at a full count. 90th pitch of the day for Davis Sharp.
Again, you got to give a lot of credit to Georgia Tech's lineup, being able to grind out at bats. And, I mean, the threat that they have in their lineup they impose has made Sharp be more aware of his pitches, which has caused his pitch count to get up.
Won't be the last you'll hear Davis Sharp's name this weekend. You'll see him in the lineup before it's all said and done. Runner goes again, but it's ball 4, so back-to-back walks to Wilhite and Waddell. And maybe Sharp showing some signs of fatigue here with a couple of free passes. It'll bring up the 2 spot of the order in Michael Goldberg.
Looked like a 3-2 changeup right there. He kind of pushed it, got underneath it instead of actually throwing it. Probably his last batter with McCann up next. The lefty in the bullpen getting warm.
Goldberg bunts it, third base side. Catcher comes out, spin and a throw to first, pulls him off the bag. And everybody's safe. The Yellow Jackets have him full on a perfect bunt by Michael Goldberg.
Really was. Great spot right there. Clemson playing the third baseman between right there, trying to hold the bag, so couldn't really get there, so catcher had to come get it. And with an athlete running, tough play to make.
Would have taken a perfect throw, and I think a perfect throw would have beaten him by a fraction of a step. And now Georgia Tech with them full here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Looks like Clemson will go to their bullpen. Out comes Monty Lee to make the call. We'll tell you about the new man next. There you see Georgia Tech's third base dugout getting into it on this Friday night in the bottom of the 5th inning as they try to add to a 3-2 lead. Couple of men aboard, and Clemson has a new pitcher on the hill in the left-hander Sam Weatherly, 6'3", 205 out of Michigan. Went to Howell High School in Howell, Michigan. His numbers on the year, 305 earned run average and 32 strikeouts in 20 2/3 innings. And he comes in a tough spot with men on every base, bags full for Georgia Tech and nobody out.
What a spot to come in right here. You know, bases loaded, batter coming up McCann with 15 home runs. Talking to Coach C before the game, you know, Weatherly's a guy that has unbelievable stuff. Throws anywhere from 92, 94, left-handed with command of a changeup and curveball. But every now and then he just loses it with walks. And it tends to, right when he loses it, that's when he gives up his hits. Doesn't give up many hits, but when he does, it's usually after a walk. So got great stuff. Has seen him go 2 or 3 plus innings without giving up a base runner. So we'll see. Big spot for Clemson here.
And you can see what you just talked about by looking at his strikeout and walk numbers. If you cover up all the other numbers for him, he's got 32 strikeouts in 20 innings. So that shows great stuff. He has 18 walks in 20 innings, which shows that, as you said, he can lose it from time to time. But his ERA is just north of 3. He's getting out of jams. And so he comes in this tight spot, a jam left to him by Davis Sharp, the freshman, who exits here in the bottom of the 5th. And he'll face Kyle McCann, who fights the first one back to the backstop.
Nowhere to put him right here.
Now, you were mostly a starter in your college days, and you started for much of your minor league baseball playing time as well, but it has to be different coming into a jam left to you by another pitcher as opposed to a jam that you got into yourself.
Yes, you got to be. If you're a reliever coming into a big spot like this, you've got to be ready.
McCann drives one deep out toward right field on a line. Mikowski will make the catch shy of the warning track. Wilhite, though, will tag and score, and Georgia Tech doubles their lead with that sacrifice line out.
Good piece of hitting right there, McCann. Staying on the fastball and driving it to right field. What I was about to say, though, as a reliever coming into a game, you've got to be ready to throw your number one off-speed pitch early in the count. Right there, a good example. He threw a good fastball, but what do coaches always say? Pitch and change, new pitcher, big runner scoring position. What's he going to try to do? Walk a guy? No. He's going to try to come right at you. So he's looking dead red. He's able to put a good swing on it.
So to bring up Tristan English. I think McCann just missed that one, too. He hit it well out toward right field. But maybe not quite on the sweet spot, so it falls just shy of the warning track into his glove. Now the pitch to English. High and in. Slider for ball 1.
What a big part of the game right here. 5th inning, only 2 hits so far and already scored 4 runs. Just speaks to the woes of putting guys on without them having to earn it.
Lift of the leg and a throw to first.
I think Goldberg may have been moving there. See him kind of raise his hips right when the pitcher lifted his leg.
It was a deceptive pickoff move as time is called. Kyle Wilkie with a quick clarification from the Clemson dugout. Relays those signs to the infield and now ready to go once again on a 1-0. Back in the first, Georgia Tech drew 2 walks. One of those replaced by a fielder's choice, but they scored twice. Each of those runners came around to score to make it 2-0 early. Ripped past third foul, just outside of play. And so it's 2-1. I mean, that was maybe 6 inches outside of the chalk.
It's a game of inches.
So an even count, 1 each way on Tristan English. Then Georgia Tech in the 4th, their leadoff man in English got aboard on a single. He scored the go-ahead run to make it 3-2. Breaking ball up and out.
See that breaking ball kind of pop out of his hand right there. Almost like a fishing rod popping it out of your hand, casting a line out on the water.
With that Ringgold, Georgia accent, I imagine you've done some fishing in your day, huh?
A little bit. Not as much as you would think.
Oh, yeah? 2-1.
With my dad, me and my dad, he'd been a coach. When we wanted to go, we had a time off. We went to a high school game somewhere, went to a college game. Growing up, being big Tennessee football fans, being right there near Chattanooga. So I grew up in the heyday of Tennessee football.
Count even on English, the stretch. And the southpaw, plateward with his 2-2. Full count. Each of the 4 runs across for Georgia Tech today has reached base with nobody out. You had the 2 early walks in the first inning, the leadoff single in the 4th, leadoff walk here in the 5th. And that's how Georgia Tech has scored 4 on just 2 hits. Now the payoff. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Late break from first, and the throw gets away into center field. Coming in from third is Waddell, and the Yellow Jackets on a late breaking double steal add a run on the throwaway by the catcher Wilkie.
Good pitch right there by Weatherly. Looked like the Clemson dugout was a little upset with the batter. Thought they may have had a little interference call there. It looked like Wilkie didn't finish his throw. But again, at second base, you got to hopefully knock that one down.
Now batting for the Yellow Jackets.
And they picked up on the delayed steal, too, right away. It was just a one-hopper that, you're right, at second base, they just couldn't quite get a glove on. That was Jordan Green that had skipped off his glove and into center, so the run came in to score. Now Barron Radcliffe steps in. 2 runs across in the 5th. A 3-run lead now for the Yellow Jackets. Radcliffe reached on an error in the 1st, grounded out in the 4th. And a pitch. Skips to the plate. Count is even at 1.
Again, in these tight ball games in the ACC conference play, it's the teams that can limit the damage between the ones that can only get up with the 1 run or can get out of the jam without getting up any runs. And on the other hand, it's the offenses that can do more with less. They've only got 2 hits in the day, but they've got 5 runs. Taking advantage of opportunities. Very good job by veteran Georgia Tech lineup.
Down and away, 3-1 on Radcliffe. Georgia Tech has lost 4 straight Friday night games. Their last win on a Friday came way back on March 22nd. That was against Louisville, a series that they won against the then number 4 team in the country. Swinging a foul tip, it's 3-2.
Healthy hack right there.
This seems to be the only night of the week where Georgia Tech has struggled this year. Midweek wins against a top 5 Georgia team. They won the season series against the Bulldogs on Tuesday night at SunTrust Park.
Wins against Auburn. 2 wins against Auburn.
Yeah, midweek wins against Auburn. Series wins against Louisville and North Carolina, both top 10 teams. Radcliffe takes ball 4 on another full count offering. And that's now 3 walks in the inning by Clemson pitchers. They stand at first and second for Colin Hall, the 7th batter of the frame. The Yellow Jackets lost their first ACC series of the year at Miami, and since then they've taken 2 out of 3 from Virginia, from Louisville, from Notre Dame, from North Carolina, Boston College on the road, Virginia Tech last weekend on the road. And many of those series wins, all but one of those 6 series wins, have come after losing the Friday night game. They're trying to turn around that trend here against a scuffling Clemson Tigers team that has lost now 7 straight ACC games after starting conference play 11-3. They were as high as number 12 in the country, Clemson was. But it's been a fast fall from grace for the Clemson Tigers over the last few weeks. And you've seen this team quite a bit, Matt Crownover. I mean, what has it been for Clemson? Just a combination of things over the last few weeks as they've fallen?
Yeah, there's 3 facets of the game: defense, offense, and pitching. And it seems like they've played really well in 2 facets, and that third one has eluded them a little bit. But you got to stay positive. Very good play right there.
Over toward the third base dugout, Justin Hawkins secures it near the top railing, and that's the final out of the inning. Colin Hall pops out in foul territory. But Georgia Tech adds 2 in the bottom half of the 5th inning thanks to 3 walks from Clemson. To the 6th we go. It's Georgia Tech up 5-2 now. 5 innings are in the books. Georgia Tech has stretched their lead now to 5-2, taking advantage of what Clemson's pitchers have given them. 3 walks in that bottom half of the 5th inning. 2 came in to score. And we go to the top of the 6th now. Jonathan Hughes' second relief inning. And the first pitch to Kyle Wilkie, the catcher, is down in the zone, ball 1. Remember, this could have been a very different ball game in the top half of the 5th inning after Grayson Bird with Logan Davidson standing on base. 1-0 pitch, foul tipped. Caught the umpire, Chambers, at home plate, but a double into right field, and Barron Radcliffe with a perfect throw to Goldberg, who relayed to the plate and cut down Davidson at home. I mean, that would have been the tying run. We would have been all knotted up at 3 apiece.
3-3 with a runner in scoring position with Wilkie up, who's hit the ball hard once already today. And then you see the momentum swing. You go out there and walk 2 guys in a row, and then unfortunately give us some runs if you're a Tiger fan. But great job by the Yellow Jackets of answering, and that's why they're tough to play at home.
It was such a close play that if anything goes wrong in that chain, if Radcliffe takes a split second longer to field it in right, if his throw is just an inch off the mark, you don't get him at the plate. Or if McCann's tag isn't perfect in one motion with a catch and swipe. Everything went right for Georgia Tech. They cut down the tying run, and now they've extended that lead now to 5-2 through 5 innings of play at Russ Chandler Stadium. Wilkie, drive, center field. Wilhite going back. He's looking for the wall, and it's off the top of the batter's eye and out of here. You said he hit it hard once already, but not that hard. Oh, my, that was an absolutely tagged ball to center.
Got a fastball and a 3-1 count up in the zone, and he surely didn't miss. He's really been swinging the bat better as of the last week or 2. But how big a deal would that have been with a guy at second base, home run, if the ball's thrown left or right of that relay right there, last inning.
That went 423 to dead away center field. It's no small feat to clear the batter's eye in center in any ballpark. And here's Hawkins.
But again, what did we say before in the middle of the game? 1-run homers usually don't beat you. You know, it's 5-3. You'd rather not give that one up, but much better just getting up a solo home run than a 2-run, a 3-run homer.
Kyle Wilkie's second home run of the season. And check out his day so far. He adds the home run to a double back in the 4th. And back in the 2nd had a 9-pitch at bat and lined it out hard to third, but for a leaping snag by Jackson Webb. Down and out to Hawkins. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
Again, though, great job by the Tigers of answering. This game might have had a little different feel to it if after that big momentous relay throw, then a 2-run inning by them, then a shutdown inning, might have been a little different feeling. But Tigers on the scoring route again.
Hawkins with a jam shot to the right side for a base hit. He's now 3 for 3 today. Came into this one on a 10-game hitting streak and has had no trouble at all extending that to 11. With that solo home run in the 2nd that started Clemson scoring. Pinch hitter for Clemson, Matt Cooper will stroll to the plate, a sophomore out of the Virginia Beach area. Represents the potential tying run. Cooper making his 14th trip to the plate this year. He's 3 for 13 so far, a .231 average. Hughes deals. Breaking ball breaks across the heart for a strike. He replaces Bo Makowski, who was the right fielder for Clemson in this one. Mikowski went 0 for 2 with a strikeout today. 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball inside corner. And it's strike 2. Clemson has had no shortage of base runners in this one. They have 9 hits and just 3 runs to show for it. Their 2 home runs have each been solo shot. This one poked down the right field line and into the Clemson bullpen. The solo shot by Hawkins earlier and the solo shot in this inning by Wilkie to dead away center to start this top of the 6th. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech just 2 hits and 5 runs to show for it. Couple of arms for Georgia Tech. Luke Bartnicki throwing down in the Yellow Jackets bullpen. And there's strike 3.
Now batting for the Tigers, number 17, Justin Hawkins.
Also, Hugh Chapman throwing for Georgia Tech down in the bullpen. So Hughes gets the K. That's the first out of the inning, and it'll bring up Hawkins. First pitch fouled away. Hawkins 0 for 2, struck out in the 4th. Georgia Tech and Clemson, a long and storied rivalry in college baseball going all the way back to the early 1900s, 1902. The American League was just a year old when these two teams squared off in the collegiate ranks for the first time. It's 0-2 on Hawkins.
Very good front hip breaking ball right there. Saw Hawkins give up on it, had to flinch, thought it was coming at him, and easily laid in there for a strike.
Hughes with an 0-2 offering. Fouled back to the screen.
But again, playing here at Russ Chandler Stadium, the wind always a factor. Ballpark usually plays a little bit smaller than most in the ACC, so teams are really never out of it with the threat of the home run.
Foul tip still 0-2, especially for left-handed hitters. They really feast here in Atlanta. And of course, straightaway center field plays pretty short with that 390 mark. But in right, it really plays like a short porch mostly because the wind is typically blowing out toward right, which we've seen for most of the game today. It seems to have died down a little bit. The ACC flags along the right field wall still blowing out slightly, but not at the clip it was earlier. The 0-2 hits the dirt, and it's 1-2 on Hawkins.
Again, these games are big for both teams for different reasons. Clemson trying to get back in the win column in the ACC and trying to get back into contention for the Atlantic side, and Georgia Tech trying to pull away from North Carolina the last 3 weekends of ACC play.
And remember, Georgia Tech took the series from North Carolina a couple of weeks back.
One thing Georgia Tech's done a good job of, they haven't been swept yet. You know, they've won 6 of their series, and the series they lost against Miami, they at least won 1 game.
Chopper to second, slow developing play, flip to short, hurry on to first, and he's safe. They get the lead runner Hawkins, but with that slow, high bouncer towards second, only the lead runner. So they trade one Hawkins for another on the base paths. Breyer out, Justin safe. Here you see it again, takes 2 hops to Wilhite at the letters. They almost turned that. It was a half a step. And so the 6th continues. Jordan Green will stride in from the right-hand side. His father, Anthony Green, played football at Wake Forest. It's down low, ball 1. Then played for a season in the NFL. Never saw real game action, but was a reserve for the New York Football Giants. Green, an undersized second baseman, just 5'8", 160. But he says he doesn't really relate to guys like Jose Altuve and Ozzie Albies. Altuve, what, 5'4"?
Yes, he is.
I saw a feature one time, I think it was in a Houston Astros program or media guide or something, and they measured famous landmarks across the world, like the Eiffel Tower and the Sears Tower and stuff like that. And they measured it in Altuves instead of feet. Green holds off on the swing.
Altuve sure has been one of the most productive hitters in Major League Baseball for the last 5 years.
It's hard to get the kind of power that he does, too, from such a small frame, but he has the quickest hands in baseball. I mean, he's able to generate pop because his bat just gets through the zone so quickly. 2-2 now. And Green said he didn't relate to guys like Altuve and Albies watching baseball growing up. As we see again here on the 2-1. Takes a hefty hack through. He preferred the big guys like Manny Ramirez and Nelson Cruz and Jose Bautista. Said Brandon Phillips was a favorite of his as well at second base. Phillips had some power, maybe not one of those big guys like a Bautista. That one just misses inside. And it's 3-2. Green said he could admire the power of those guys and the bat flips of Jose Bautista.
Speaking like a true hitter.
So Hughes has to do it again on a 3-2. Runner goes, swinging a high drive out toward left field. Colin Hall going back, looking up. It'll bounce at the base of the wall. Coming around third, it's Hawkins. He'll score easily. And Green sends one on a ride to deep left to the base of the wall for an RBI double. It's a one-run game.
What a big swing by the senior there with 2 outs, helping his teammates out and getting them to a 1-run deficit there.
See it again. He put a charge on that one. It was just below the letters.
Now batting for the Tigers, number 13, Bryce Teodosio.
He tried to do a Jose Bautista impression there. Came up just shy in left field. A couple of feet more, and that would have tied the game. Instead, a 1-run game, tying run at second. Here in the top of the 6th. Georgia Tech 5, Clemson 4. Teodosio, the center fielder and 9-hole hitter, takes outside for a ball, 1-0. Strikeout victim twice so far today. Stylish frames between the purple and orange helmet of Clemson.
And again, you can see the addition there of having to wear those eye protection there because of the injury he faced last week in practice.
Yeah, he suffered an eye injury bunting in practice, and it came back up and got him in the eyes, so wearing the protective eyewear today. His first game back since that injury. The 2-0 is in there for a strike to make it 2-1 on Bryce Teodosio.
What a big spot in the game right here. Haven't swung in a game in over a week, and being with the runner in scoring position, 2 outs.
Fouled away. Imagine it's tough to adjust to wearing frames, too, when you're not used to it. At the plate to have to put on the protective eyewear. It's kind of like all the big leaguers you've seen recently who have to wear the jaw guard now because of, breaking their jaw from a high and tight pitch. Guys like Jason Hayward. I remember Hayward when he started using the jaw guard, and Dansby Swanson, another one, who, when they started using it, they struggled because it was just, you're so used to your routine at the plate, it's hard to get used to something new that you add in. 2-2, down and away, 3-2. And pitchers can relate to that, too. I mean, I'm sure throwing some new spikes that don't feel quite right, it throws off your whole game.
Oh, yeah. Usually if you're a pitcher, you don't use a brand new pair of spikes until you've used them at least once in a bullpen. But we saw that kind of in basketball with Zion Williamson, and we learned so much more about how people use their basketball shoes.
Popped Fallon out of play. Yeah, against North Carolina, the Duke forward blew right out of his shoe and injured his knee, was out for a couple of weeks.
What a big spot right here. 3-2, both pitcher and hitter battling right there. Being able to, the guts to throw a 3-2 breaking ball, and good job by the hitter of fouling it off.
So another payoff pitch from Hughes. Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Teodosio caught looking. It was a long AB, took 7 pitches to set him down, but Hughes gets through it, and he keeps the lead at a run. We go to the bottom of the 6th.
Top of the 6th inning, the Tigers had 2 runs on 3 hits with no errors.
So far, Georgia Tech the slight edge over Clemson, 5-4. But to Matt Crownover, my partner, you just get the feeling this one's not quite finished yet.
Not quite finished yet. Both teams have responded to get back in the score column. 5-4 game. A lot of baseball to be played here in the late innings.
Georgia Tech trying to add to their lead once again. It's Wilhite to lead off this bottom of the 6th. Watches a strike that breaks to the outside edge. 7, 8, and 9 due up for Georgia Tech. Wilhite, Webb, and Wilhite.
The key here for the rest of the way for the Tiger pitching staff, can you get the first guy of the inning out? Can you make him earn it to get on base? That's where they've fallen in trouble with. Georgia Tech, you give a lot of credit to Georgia Tech, take advantage of those opportunities, but they've only had 2 hits through 5 innings so far. So Clemson's pitching staff's got to do a better job of attacking batters, especially the first one of the inning.
Last time up, Austin Wilhite with a sacrifice fly to right. That was back in the 4th inning, and it broke a 2-2 tie. Brought in Tristan English, who got the first hit of the day for Georgia Tech, and they've gotten just 1 since. Michael Goldberg with a bunt single, so the Yellow Jackets have just 1 hit today that has left the infield. They have 2 total. Swinging a drive, and yet they lead at 5-4. That one fouling out of play.
Again, the old phrase pitching coaches like to say is shut down inning. We need a shut down inning right here. And if you're Coach C, pitching coach for Clemson, that's what you're asking for. And Coach Ramsey in the other dugout is asking for his hitters to respond.
The 1-2 offering to Austin Wilhite. Way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sam Weatherly still on the hill. Into his 2nd relief inning now for the Clemson Tigers. Two and two. Outside again. He lost the handle on 2 of them. Identical pitches. 2
in a row right there, nowhere close. Looked like he had a little timing issue, maybe trying to throw it too hard. Again, great stuff. Just got to hone it in sometimes.
Trying to rear back and fire on 1-2 and then 2-2, and well, it was a bit outside.
Sounds like a movie quote somewhere.
Just a bit outside. 3-2 pitch on the way. Fouled away. A little bit of Bob Uecker in Major League.
Minor League Baseball, you have a couple of those too. You know, and it's kind of like a Bull Durham situation where the pitching coach comes out there and there's not much productive to say. The guy just walked 2 in a row. I mean,
swung on and missed by Wilhite. That's strike 3.
What a big pitch by Weatherly right there, having confidence to throw his breaking ball. No fear of failure. Had real conviction in that pitch.
So when I was in minor league baseball, as here you see the pitch again to Wilhite, and skips in the dirt and tag quickly applied. But when I was in minor league baseball, I was announcing for the Mississippi Braves on radio. I was by myself, and we were in Mobile, Alabama. And in Mobile, they play their games at Hank Aaron Stadium. Hank Aaron is a native of Mobile. And breaking ball hits the outside corner for a strike on Webb. Well, they don't draw very well. In fact, the team's moving out of Mobile. And I said on the air one night in about the 6th or 7th inning, I actually got in a little bit of trouble for this one. I said on the air that they were trying to draw more fans than Hank hit home runs. And the attendance that night was 714, and I said, Hank wins again. I had to apologize to the staff of the Bay Bears for that one.
Got their feelings hurt a little bit there, didn't they?
That was my major league moment.
Must not have had a bobblehead night. You'd be amazed how many people show up for bobblehead nights, trading card nights, or Star Wars nights.
Oh, yeah. They come out for the promotion and realize, oh, there's a baseball game going on. Or the fireworks, too. Fireworks on Friday night in minor league stadiums across the country. You saw a lot of fireworks in your playing days, I'm sure.
Every Friday night. What was that, the Pokemon Go that was big for a while?
Sure,
like 3 years ago? We'd have a Pokemon Go night, and there'd be 100 kids walking around in the stands, no idea what's going on, looking at their phone trying to catch the next Pokemon.
And that's why we have screens that go all the way down to the end of the dugouts now.
Jeez.
Swing and a miss. And Webb is set down. 2 away, back-to-back strikeouts now for the Clemson southpaw Weatherly.
As we talk about, and we were talking about before the game, Coach C, he's got great put-away stuff when he throws it over the plate. And saw an example of 2 just wipe-out sliders right there.
And when you hear my partner say Coach C, that's the pitching coach, Andrew C. His last name, S-E-E. It's not a nickname saying, oh, Coach C.
Formerly at Duke before Monty Lee snagged him away.
He joins Bradley LaCroix as the assistants on Monty Lee's staff. Monty Lee, his 4th season now at Clemson after he took over for 22-year coaching veteran Jack Leggett. The 0-1 to Wilhite. And Nick Wilhite now takes the ball down and out. He walked and scored in the 5th. And plunked him right in the shin. Nick Wilhite down in the left-hand batter's box. That's a painful spot to get hit. But he's right back up and will limp it off to first base.
Nothing like taking one to the shin.
No protection down there. So a 2-out base runner for Georgia Tech. I don't want to say that's a free base runner for the Yellow Jackets, but they've had a lot of free base runners today. That a painful one. But that's the 6th free pass, so to speak. 5 walks and a hit batter for Clemson pitching, compared to just 2 hits. So the Yellow Jackets have had 8 base runners total, plus 2 errors for Clemson on the board. Lefty-lefty matchup as Waddell, the top of the order, will bat, and here's the pitch. High and tight. Helmet high inside. It's 1-0. Waddell's 4th trip to the plate. It's kind of a weird flow to this game. It's not very often you see a team that only has 2 hits, 1, have 5 runs, and 2, be on their 4th time through the order in the 6th inning.
No, I mean, they've been very opportunistic with their approach. But again, that just kind of, you see the Clemson dugout there just kind of scratched their head with Weatherly, who throws 2 just wipe-out breaking balls to get the first 2 guys out, then lose it there for 3 straight pitches. But you see him taking a deep breath. Great job of the young man taking a deep breath, and hopefully we'll be able to get back in the zone if you're the Tiger staff.
Right-hander throwing in the Clemson bullpen, Luke Sommerfeld. Up and in, ball 3. Right now, Georgia Tech's strategy, just go to the plate and watch and wait and see if he can find the strike zone again.
Sommerfeld hadn't pitched much this year, but gave Clemson a big lift Tuesday against Winthrop, throwing 3 innings of 1-run ball.
So he's warming quickly down in the Clemson bullpen, hoping to keep this game close. Pickoff toss to first.
And that's a strategy right there. I was called from the dugout to give the guy in the bullpen an extra chance to get ready, but that's something I used to do. If I threw 2 balls nowhere close, I'd throw it over to first 2 or 3 times to try to come somewhere close to throwing it to where I wanted to. Then kind of get a little confidence and be able to throw it where I want to at the plate.
sort of practice throws, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't count, but it at least gets
They're
your
free.
command back.
They're free.
Trying to hit the first baseman's mitt instead of the catcher's mitt. More action in the Clemson bullpen. So now 2 righties throwing down that way. Now the southpaw deals his 3-0. And there's a strike over the heart.
Again, you see kind of Wilkie trying to calm him down there and ask him, hey, what do you feel better throwing right now? And the answer was the breaking ball, throwing it 3-0 to the leadoff batter.
We've seen him lost the handle on a couple of fastballs in this inning. Had back-to-back way outside on 1-2 and 2-2 counts earlier. He's missed a few times high and tight to Waddell here with the lefty standing in. Now the 3-1 on the way. In there at the knees for a taken strike. And the count runs full.
So he gets behind 3-0, then he throws 2 straight breaking balls. I think he's probably going to throw another breaking ball here. What do you think?
Yeah, that came in 79, and yeah, I mean, can't find his command of the fastball, doesn't want to walk Waddell. It's not very often that guys at this level have a better feel for their breaking ball than their fastball, but we've seen that in this inning, that he doesn't have a handle on his heater. The 3-2, ripped right field, base hit. Headed around second for third is Wilhite, and Waddell has a knock to put him at the corners with 2 away.
A veteran hitter in there, Waddell, knowing that he was going to throw a breaking ball, sat on it, was able to hit it over the second baseman's head. Again, good job of hitting, taking advantage of the opportunity there.
Good hitters pick up on that. They know when your repertoire has kind of dropped down to 1 pitch. They know that the catcher goes out there and says, what do you feel comfortable throwing? He says breaking ball, so you get breaker, breaker. Hey, there's going to be a third one because he just has no feel for the fastball. At that point, there's not a whole lot of guesswork to do as a hitter. You know it's coming. You just have to see one in the strike zone. And now here comes the head coach for Clemson, and Monty Lee. He goes to the bullpen. It'll be a right-hander. We'll tell you who in a moment. Georgia Tech threatening with 2 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Ninth appearance of the year for Luke Sommerfeld out of the bullpen. 0-1 on the year, 4.76 ERA. Big right-hander. 17 strikeouts to 7 walks in 17 innings of work this year. 6'6", 240 pounds from the great state of Wisconsin, a transfer from St. Louis University. And he comes in a jam here with 2 outs and runners on the corners. And Michael Goldberg coming to the plate. Georgia Tech just got their 3rd hit of the day. It was a line drive single by Luke Waddell to right. And in spite of just 3 hits, the Yellow Jackets leading it 5-4 here and looking for more.
Big spot in this game right here. With first and third, Somerville coming in a big situation. Will they run or take off at first? We've seen them do that previously with 2 outs, first and third. So big spot in the game with Goldberg up, who's hitting 400 over ACC play.
Yeah, we saw that in the 5th with 1 out where they tried the delayed double steal. It was Waddell at third and Goldberg at first. Breaking ball in the dirt for ball 1.
There you see an example of throwing a breaking ball first pitch late in the game where the runner's in scoring position.
The offering to Goldberg. Hacks away. It's strike 1. Goldberg laid down a beautiful bunt single back in the 5th. He was the final batter faced by the starter Davis Sharp. Sharp worked 4 innings, but faced 3 batters in the 5th and left with the bases loaded. Strike on the outside corner. It feels like the kind of ball game where Georgia Tech, because of the number of base runners that they've had with all those walks and hit batters, when you look at the scoreboard, it feels like with just a couple more hits here or there, and we'd be talking about a totally different ball game. I mean, it would be a blowout. But instead, Tech has only had a handful of hits. They have 3 hits to show for their 5 runs in this one. And with that, Clemson has been able to keep it close, a one-run game here. Georgia Tech has been knocking on the door all night with a parade of base runners. And Goldberg trying to come through, the ACC's leading hitter. On the year, a .391 clip. Today, 1 for 3. 1-2 pitch in the dirt away. Count evens at 2.
Good stop right there by Wilkie. Summerfield wanting to throw a break 'em all in the dirt, get a swing and miss off of Goldberg, that hitter that usually puts the ball in play. So you can't just throw a hanging breaking ball or a fastball in the middle of the plate. You're going to throw him a quality pitch to get him out here.
He does not strike out often. Just 18 Ks this year in 41 games. 2-2 in the air, right field, down the line, twisting away, and on the run over toward the line, he makes the catch. And that'll retire the side for the Yellow Jackets. They put him on the corners in the 6th, but we go to the 7th, still a one-run game. Six innings in the books. Georgia Tech 5-4 leaders over Clemson. How we got to this point, Georgia Tech early on got the help of an error in the first. 2 runs in the first inning, but Clemson came right back, including a home run from Briar Hawkins. That made it 2-1 in the second. They tie it up at 2-2. Into the 4th, though, Georgia Tech trying to find their way back. They took the lead, and they held on to it thanks to a bang-bang play at the plate. Cut down was Logan Davidson on a perfect relay throw. Now Clemson just trying to stay close, and Kyle Wilkie with a solo home run over the batter's eye in center field. Part of a 2-run 6. Now we head to the 7th, and Clemson will send Sam Hall, with Georgia Tech leading it by just a run. Jonathan Hughes into his 3rd relief inning now. Xavion Curry went 4 in the start, and now Hughes in long relief, trying to hold on to that 1-run lead. Kyle Tate and former Clemson hurler Matthew Crownover here with you on a Friday night, game 1 of a 3-game set. 4 o'clock tomorrow, 1 o'clock Sunday. And we've got them all for you right here on ACC Network Extra. Andy Demetra is back with you tomorrow, and then I'll wrap up the series on Sunday. Matt's here all weekend long. 3-0 on Sam Hall, and if you're Jonathan Hughes and the Yellow Jackets, you certainly don't want to walk the leadoff man here in the 7th. We've seen that come back to bite Clemson through much of this game. Georgia Tech has scored every time they've gotten the leadoff man on. Pitch up and in, and it's ball 4, so Hughes misses with 4 straight.
Again, not what you want. Here comes Coach Danny Hall to come get the bullpen.
Yeah, a very quick move out of the dugout. Wastes no time. He says, let's see what Hughes does going back out to the 7th. Walks him on 4 in a row. Okay, that makes my decision for me. He'll come out and go to the bullpen. So we'll take the break with him. Runner on for Clemson. Nobody out here in the 7th. Yellow Jackets by a run, trying to hold on to it. New pitcher on the mound for Georgia Tech is the southpaw Luke Bartnicki. 21st appearance of the year, a 6.64 earned run average. And the lefty comes to the hill here in the top half of the 7th inning with a runner on, a leadoff walk from Jonathan Hughes. So Hughes goes 2 innings of relief work, and now it's Bartnicki with a man on and nobody out. Georgia Tech 5, Clemson 4. Bartnicki makes his 21st appearance of the season. He's given up 15 earned runs over 20 1/3 frames. And 23 strikeouts with 14 walks to go with it. Big lefty, 6'3", 210 out of nearby Marietta. Went to Walton High School. Kyle Tate and Matthew Crownover here on this Friday night. Beautiful night for baseball here in late April. After today, just 8 ACC games remain for these two teams and the rest of the conference. Georgia Tech next weekend will have a break from conference play with Western Carolina. And then it's at Duke, and then finish up with Pittsburgh at home in mid-May.
Logan Davidson up here, having to switch around to hit right-handed this time. Already had 3 productive at-bats on the left side today.
RBI double back in the third included. And that's down and in for ball 1.
The story of the day has been Georgia Tech has taken advantage of the opportunities been given to them by Clemson's pitching staff. Can Clemson take advantage of this opportunity now and even up the score?
Mentioned earlier, Logan Davidson, the son of former Clemson Tiger and Major League Baseball player Mark Davidson, played 6 years in the big leagues with the Twins and the Houston Astros. Won the 1987 World Series with Minnesota. He was the 4th outfielder in an outfield that included Kirby Puckett. Also Bert Blyleven, the star of that rotation. Davidson checks the swing. It's down low. Mark Davidson had 1 at-bat in the World Series that year. He flied out to deep center in his only AB. But he got the World Series ring. He joined in the celebration. They beat the Cardinals that year in 7 games. Then, of course, 4 years later, 91, Twins won it again, beating the Braves in that worst to first year. Pickoff throw to first. Back standing comes Sam Hall.
You know, Sam Hall's already been caught stealing once, but now lefty is in the game. A little higher leg kick, so probably get a little easier jump. Clemson's got to find a way to get him to second base.
He sneaks to a lead. And that's down and away.
But when you throw 3 straight balls, you don't have to worry about stealing.
And you see, too, with a lefty, that more deceptive pickoff move. Hall's first move was back toward first. We didn't have a camera on it, but his first move was back toward first as he kicks that leg kick, because you figure he might throw a pickoff. In the dirt inside, ball 4. Hall had no designs on going that entire AB. It didn't last long. 4 straight and back-to-back walks to Hall and Davidson.
Again, 8 straight pitches this inning have been all balls.
From 2 different pitchers, too, and Hughes and now Bartnicki.
Now, a Bird up, he's not your prototypical 3-hole batter. He will lay down a bunt. So a senior that can do it all for his teammates, look for him to get up in the box and put a bunt down.
And the first pitch, high and in, ball 1.
Well, it looks like they're playing it straight up right here.
9 straight out of the zone. And the 1-0 offering from Bartnicki to Bird is fouled off. Hacking in spite of 9 in a row wide. 5 in a row for the new man. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike now. You know, you talk about not your prototypical heart-of-the-order guy knowing how to lay down a bunt. I talked to a manager one time, and he said he had his 4-hole hitter. It was a big, mashing power hitter, had 25, 30 home runs that year in minor league baseball. And I talked to him the next day about his 4-hole hitter laying down a bunt, and he said, well, if you think about it, the odds, even at, this was at AA at the time, but even at that level, but especially at this level, the odds of these guys making the major leagues are so small. Kick, spin, throw toward third, and they got him. Georgia Tech cuts down a runner, the lead runner, thanks to a nifty pickoff move, and Hall was going on first movement from Bartnicki. Second time he's been caught trying to steal today, and that's out number 1. Big out there.
Good job by Bartnicki, inside move. Sam Hall thought he caught him sleeping. Kept his feet moving, and inside move got him easy throw to third. But that changes the whole complexity of the inning right there.
Yeah, undoubtedly. But back to the story about heart-of-the-order guys knowing how to bunt. Even though Bird is a heart-of-the-order guy for Clemson, you know, if he makes the big leagues early on, certainly in his career, he would probably be batting in the 7 or 8 spot of the order, and those guys definitely need to know how to bunt. And so even if you make it to the big leagues, you still have to have that fundamental aspect of your game because most guys aren't your 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the show.
And it depends on what league you're in.
Sure.
In the National League, you're going to see more bunting. In the American League, you're probably not going to see as much bunting with the DH in play. But the people don't realize how much the pitcher's spot really plays a role in how the game is played in the National League.
Are you a bring the DH to both leagues kind of guy?
I kind of like the difference of both of them. Some people are one way or the other. I kind of like the difference in it. It's two different types of game. It really is. There's a lot more strategy in the National League game, but you got to like. There's got to be a place for guys like David Ortiz in the game.
It's in there for a strike, 2-2.
Possibly the new DH for the Houston Astros one day, Seth Beer.
Yeah.
Again, though, that just really changes the inning right there. You got Wilkie coming up, then Hawkins. Wilkie's hit the ball hard twice with a double and a home run, and Briar Hawkins with a home run and 2 other hits. So it really changed the inning.
High chopper towards second. You could see that change come into play here. Waddell on to first. Safe. They get 1 out of it, so 2 away now in the inning. Logan Davidson is erased off the base paths, and Grayson Bird aboard with fielder's choice. 2 out, man at first, and Wilkie the batter.
Now batting for the Tigers,
Good job by the infield of Georgia Tech right there.
Wilhite had to step back to field that one. Another slow developing bouncing ball, and now here comes Danny Hall again, the longtime head coach for the Yellow Jackets, out to the hill and will make the call to the bullpen. He doesn't want to face Wilkie again with a left-hander on the mound. He blasted a solo home run to center last time up. Runner on, 2 out here in the 7th, 1-run lead. Georgia Tech goes to the bullpen. It's the right-hander Hugh Chapman coming on to face the catcher Kyle Wilkie, who homered his last time up. Yellow Jackets trying to hold on to a 1-run lead, 5-4 over Clemson here in this series opening Friday night game. Chapman so far this year makes his 10th appearance. 4 runs on 10 hits in 9 innings of work. A native of Smyrna, Georgia, right up 75. The 20-year-old, a sophomore. An even 4 ERA and a 1-0 record for him this year. And he comes on with a runner on first and 2 outs. This inning could have been a vastly different script. Clemson had back-to-back walks to start this top of the 7th. And with 2 aboard and nobody out, a tremendous pickoff move by Luke Bartnicki with Sam Hall going on first movement. It was just great timing. He swivels around, sees Hall moving from second, and throws him out easily at third. Twice today, Hall has been caught stealing. Only 5 times on the season, including the 2 today, and none bigger than that one here in the 7th inning to preserve a 1-run lead.
Got to give credit to Coach Hall. Getting the right guy in there to pitch, calling the pickoff move, then going to a righty here, facing a very hot Kyle Wilkie.
Yeah, you said it, Wilkie, a home run, a double, and a hard line out to third. That line out ended a 9-pitch at bat, so he's been tremendous today, 2 for 3, and even the 1 out was hard hit and a long trip. First pitch is on the way. Check swing, tapped foul. Wilkie's home run made it 5-3 in the 6th inning. They'd tack on another run in that frame with an RBI double from Jordan Green. That made it 5-4, and that's where we sit here in the 7th. A peek at first, set, deal, breaking ball high and in, 1-1.
See the respect Coach Hal, pitching coach for Georgia Tech's paying Wilkie here after having 3 great at-bats so far. 2 breaking balls to start the count.
Kyle Wilkie, the junior from nearby Cumming, Georgia, went to Creekview High School. Takes a strike, 1-2. Bit of a homecoming for him, as with many of these Clemson Tigers. D1 Baseball has him in their top 150 college draft prospects this year, number 141, at a spot that is very much short across professional baseball. Catchers is a pretty thin position above the college level. A lot of teams looking for good catching. Check swing. He went. Strike 3. Throw down to first with 2 outs on a drop third to complete the out. And that'll retire the side. A huge strikeout and a huge defensive stand for Georgia Tech. in the top of the 7th inning to get out of that early jam. Time to stretch. Yellow Jackets by a run. Matt Crownover alongside. I'm Kyle Tate. Bottom of the 7th inning we go. Everybody stretched out to dead skunk in the middle of the road at Russ Chandler Stadium, and Georgia Tech trying to hold on to their 5-4 lead. They'll send the heart of the order. Looking to add to it with McCann, English, Radcliffe. Yellow Jackets with just 3 hits, but they have that 5-4 edge. And Matt, especially here late in the season, it's so big to get a Friday night win, especially for both of these teams, trying to accomplish different missions late in the year with just 9 ACC games remaining. But setting the tone for the rest of the weekend is oh so critical when you're locked in close races in the case of Georgia Tech, or on a long 7-game conference losing streak in the case of Clemson.
Yes, if you're Georgia Tech, you're kind of locked in as a top 16 seed, going to host, but could possibly slide into a national seed after winning the rivalry series against Georgia this past week. So, looking into regional, super regional play, if you're Tech, you don't want to fall in the habit of falling behind 0-1 every series, because there's going to be some really good teams like you play here in the ACC in the postseason that it's going to be tough to come back from a 0-1 deficit.
Fouls it straight back at us. It's 2-1. Mentioned earlier, Georgia Tech with 11 wins over top 25 teams this year. That's more than any team in the country. They have 5 wins over top 5 teams. A win over UCLA when they were ranked number 1 in the country early in the year. 2 wins over Georgia, 2 wins over Louisville. You add in a couple of wins over North Carolina, who was in the top 10 when they beat them a few weeks ago. And throughout the season, Danny Hall has said in his 26 years at the helm, this was the hardest schedule that he's ever put together, that Georgia Tech has ever had. Part of that him putting it together, part of it the ACC giving it to him in conference play. But it is just week after week after week. It's just a gauntlet.
Good at-bat with McCann right here. McCann, sorry. Excuse me. 3-2 count right here. Big spot. Big spot in this game.
McCann stares down the right-handed hurler for Clemson. And the payoff pitch plateward. Swing, drive out toward right field. And he'll look up. It's out of here. Kyle McCann, a solo home run to add to Georgia Tech's lead late. A line drive that left in a big hurry, and for that matter, on a 3-2 pitch.
Again, getting in a hitter's count and sitting on a 3-2 fastball, able to add his 16th home run of the year. He just missed hitting one out last at bat for the sac fly.
Yeah, his previous AB, it was just shy of the warning track. That one gets out of here. And the exit velocity was 112 on that one. It left in a hurry. It had dinner reservations. Down the right field line, that'll drop in. Tristan English has one skip to the wall. He's headed for second and gets a stop sign there. So the home run by McCann. Now the double by English. Georgia Tech up 2 and looking for more with nobody out in the 7th.
Good piece of hitting right there, staying on a breaking ball away, not trying to do too much with it, and land a double into the right field line. You can see the momentum. There's been so many momentum changes in this game, but you see what happened last inning after the attempted stolen base of third. Looks like the wind had been knocked out of Clemson's sail there.
Here you see again, just went the other way with a breaking ball that he stayed back on. So here's Radcliffe. Big left-hand hitter. Reached twice today on an error and a walk. Sommerfeld, the 6'6" grad transfer, spins around for a look at English. And now sets at the belt buckle and fires. Down the heart at the knees for a called strike. Georgia Tech trying to stretch their win streak to 4 games. Clemson trying to win back-to-back games. It's 1-1. Again, the Tigers had lost 8 in a row until their win over Tennessee Tech, 7-4 on Wednesday. That includes a loss to Winthrop Tuesday. They were swept by Duke last weekend. They had a 20-inning game that they lost in Athens, Georgia, so this Clemson's second trip to the Peach State. That one skirts away from Wilkie to the backstop, and English moves up 90 feet to third. But they had a marathon game against Georgia that the Bulldogs won at Foley Field on a walk-off home run in the 20th. It was the longest game in both Clemson and Georgia history.
Both left over 15 batters on base.
Oh.
See right there, uncharacteristically, ball gets by Wilkie there. Now runner in scoring position.
Mind you, they left that many batters on base, 30 between the two teams, and it was a 3-2 final score. That's a frustrating game for pitchers. You get runners on base all night long through 20 innings, and nobody can come in.
The only saving grace, it was decent weather.
2-2, the pitch to Radcliffe. Ripped right field, base hit down the line. It's into the corner. Georgia Tech adds another. Barron Radcliffe heads for second and stands with an RBI double. How about this 7th inning? McCann homers, and English and Radcliffe go back-to-back with 2-baggers.
Good piece of hitting right there by Radcliffe. Stayed back on a changeup there, was up in the zone. Didn't try to do too much, and wrapped it down the right field line there.
Now batting for the Yellow Jackets, number 5, Colin Hall.
Here you see it again. The swing plane from Radcliffe. Beauty.
Able to get his long hands inside the baseball and wrap it down the line there. Now the lead 7-4. 3-run lead here.
And it's Colin Hall stepping in next. Hitless in 3 trips. He has reached on an error today. It's down in the dirt for ball 1. I know part of it's the angle we have, but you can see how large a human being Barron Radcliffe is in this view as he takes his secondary lead. Watch as the pitch comes. You can't even see the pitch anymore. He's so big. Can't see the action at home plate. He covers up home plate. That's a large human being.
Coach Hall wanting to have a talk with his son there.
Two generations of the Hall family meeting near the third base on deck circle.
Look, a pretty calm conversation right there. Sometimes between father and son when they're coaching, sometimes things get a little heated right there, but look like a normal conversation.
If you get a knock here, I'll make your favorite for dinner tonight. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Ball and a strike. Pitch to Hall. Bunted, right side, caught coming off the hill. Sommerfeld throws it into center, and Radcliffe will have to hold at second. They were trying to double off Barron Radcliffe on the line-out bunt off the right side of the hill. Radcliffe had to scamper back.
Good idea by Coach Hall there. He's trying to push it towards the second baseman. And pretty good play with Sommerfeld. Just got to set his feet and throw it. No harm, no foul.
So Austin Wilhite. Second baseman 0 for 3. Actually make it 0 for 2 today with a sac fly. He digs in. His sacrifice fly back in the 4th broke a 2-2 tie. Georgia Tech has not trailed since. In fact, they haven't trailed at all today. But they've had the lead since that point. Made it 5-2 in the 5th. Then Clemson came back, made it 5-4. Now Georgia Tech has taken a couple of steps forward once more to make it 7-4 in the bottom of the 7th inning. The first of the Wilhite twins waiting from the right-hand side, and the pitch. On top of one foul down the third base line. The count is 1-1. Luke Sommerfeld, the grad transfer from St. Louis University. In the air, right field line, twisting. Sam Hall on the run, and will run out of room. By the way, Hall, who started the game, that is Sam Hall, the man running that one down, started the game in left field, now has moved to right field, and earlier in the game, Clemson had a pinch hitter in Cooper. He's now playing left. Cooper replaced Mikowski back in the 6th inning. Will Height back to the pitcher's mound. It was off the leg or maybe the glove of the pitcher. He scrambles after it, recovers, and throws out Austin Wilhite at first. A great job by Sommerfeld to recover after that one caught him on the mound.
Good recovery right there by the pitcher. Sure they didn't feel too good off the shins.
Let's see where it caught him. First you see Wilhite scrambling down the line, nearly losing the helmet. The throw beats him by a step. And now the head coach for Clemson, Monty Lee, will come out to the mound and talk it over with Sommerfeld. And Sommerfeld, you could read his lips. He says, "No, I'm fine." Here's the angle. You can see maybe where it hits him. Yeah, it caught him in the right calf, maybe.
It's a big man on the mound, though.
You'd rather it catch you in the calf than the ankle. There's a little meat there, at least. He'll see the stitches of that baseball later on today. That'll be imprinted on his calf for a week. Pretty hard hit ball by Wilhite, and a great job by him to recover. So now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, 2 runs across for Georgia Tech. Radcliffe standing at third. And now back comes the Clemson head coach Monty Lee, and he's going to go to his bullpen. So Lee was out there to talk about an injury, then goes back to the dugout, comes back out to call time, and will head to his pen for a left-hander. It looks like Justin Robleski. We'll tell you about him after this. 2 across for Georgia Tech, looking for more in the 7th. Back to you with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning from Russ Chandler Stadium. Georgia Tech looking to put this one away late. Already 2 runs across. And Justin Robleski, you see the numbers, 13 innings and an ERA north of 10 this year. It's his 10th appearance. 3 of those were starts. And he's 0-2 with that 10.38 ERA. 11 walks in 13 innings.
Sorry about that, Kyle. He had a couple of starts on the weekend to start the year, and after the South Carolina series, they moved him into the bullpen to face more lefties. A big spot for him right here.
Runner at third and 2 outs. That man is Barron Radcliffe. And stepping in for Georgia Tech is the third baseman Jackson Webb. Webb is 0 for 3 today, but he's been impressive so far in his time at third base, basically taking the playing time away from Oscar Serratos over there at the hot corner. And he'll step in looking for his first hit of the day. The lefty deals. Breaking ball up. Webb, over his last 7 starts before today, was hitting .379 with an OPS up over 950. Here, if he can get a knock, he'd stretch the lead to 4. And he throws the bat over toward the on-deck circle. Look out, Wilhite.
Might need to use a little pine tar.
Good news is Nick Wilhite, not a big target over there.
That's why we had those nettings right there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think they should extend the netting all the way down to where all the fans are.
You think so? All the way down the lines?
Right down. I was actually at a game here one time. We brought a our middle school team here, and Ricky Weeks Jr. was hitting for Miami, and he squared up a guy right down there. We almost had to take somebody to the hospital. So just so close.
Down in the dirt inside, it's 2-1. Yeah, I was a big proponent of the nets going down to the ends of the dugouts, certainly. I know a lot of baseball purists cried foul. You know, they'd say pay attention and quit looking at your phone. But in today's day and age, fans are just, they're a more distracted breed than they were 30 years ago. You know, you can be lost in a conversation or lost texting or Instagramming that you're, you know, at Russ Chandler Stadium watching Georgia Tech and Clemson, and you just don't see that foul ball coming. You always have to be watching every single pitch, and even if you are watching, sometimes you just don't have enough time to react. So,
no, I mean, the guys on the field can't catch line drives right at them. They know it's coming. You know, people without a glove that are 65 years old, chances of getting out of the way is not very good, you know, so.
Two to Webb, fouled away. Yeah, I agree with you. Baseball is the only sport. I mean, you think about hockey, how high the glass is at hockey games, because pucks would go into the stands, you know, willy-nilly, and nobody asks, why do we have glass all around the ice at hockey games? Because, of course, it makes sense. But baseball, people were crying foul because you're putting netting and blocking your line of sight, when really after a while you don't even really realize the net's there. I mean, you sit behind home plate and you just don't even see it.
Well, didn't Montreal's stadium used to have that in their dome? Used to have the kind of plexiglass.
Oh, yeah, they did.
There wasn't many fans to go to those games, but
right. I've heard reports, though.
There was a team there at one point.
Yep. 3-2 pitch inside, ball 4. And Jackson Webb heads down to first with the 2-out free pass. They're at the corners. And there may be baseball in Montreal again. There's really been a huge push the last couple of years to possibly re-expand. It wasn't necessarily Major League Baseball officials now feel like it wasn't the city of Montreal that failed the team. It was the ownership situation. It was kind of a crumbling stadium. It was, you know, a lot of different factors. Washington, D.C. had been clawing for a baseball team since the Senators had left years earlier for Texas. And, yeah, Montreal could very well support baseball again within the next couple of years. Wilhite, the batter, shows bunt, pulls back. It's outside for a ball. 7 batters now in the inning for Georgia Tech, part of a 2-run frame and looking for more. They're on the corners with 2 out.
Seems like Canada's been pretty good to the Guerreros. Vladimir Sr. and Vladimir Jr., who's making his debut tonight for the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Vlad Guerrero Jr. expected to be a stud for Toronto. And I hear, just like his daddy, too, swing at everything. And hit everything, too. Vlad Guerrero Sr. had just an amazing knack for swinging at the worst pitches you could possibly swing at and somehow hitting them over the fence.
It's like as I like to say from the Dominican-born players, usually they're free swingers.
Three and 1 count here on Nick Wilhite. And it's high, ball 4. Yeah, what is it they say down in the Dominican? They say you can't walk your way off the island down there?
Can't walk your way off the island. I don't know if that's politically correct to say or not, but
hey, they swing at everything. It's a...
I had a teammate last year get hit in the chest twice swinging at pitches. The chest.
Really?
Yeah, so if you threw the rosin bag out there, he'd swing at the first pitch.
Luke Waddell bats. Base is loaded. It's outside for a ball. 1-0.
See Coach C going out there. Again, 2 walks coming into the game there. That's 7 for the game, if I'm not mistaken, and one hit batter. So
Meanwhile, Clemson has more action out in their bullpen. It's Travis Marr throwing down that way. This game's starting to stretch a bit time-wise. We're at 3 hours and 15 minutes and counting since a 6 o'clock first pitch. And a lot of walks will do that to you. As you mentioned, 7 walks for Clemson pitchers, plus the hit batter of Will Height last inning. We're in the 7th. The 1-0 pitch to Waddell. Upstairs, ball 2.
Again, walks, you can handle 1, 2, maybe 3 a game, but it just kill the momentum of the game for your defense, for your offense, and kind of gets the pace of the game to a crawl.
And there's 3-0, nowhere to put him. A swarm of Yellow Jackets around the bases. 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. A walk forces home Radcliffe from third. The Southpaw's 3-0 pitch. Outside, ball 4. Waddell trots down to first with the easiest RBI he'll ever gather, that is, and Radcliffe scores from 90 feet away. 8-4 now, Georgia Tech. And once again, Monty Lee out of the first base dugout and points down to his bullpen for a right-hander. It'll be Michael Goldberg. Yellow Jackets have batted around the order here in the bottom of the 7th. 3 runs across. Tell you about the new man next. Clemson deeper into their bullpen. Right-hander Travis Marr answers the call for his 10th appearance. 1-0 with a 7.90 earned run average. The big right-hander has 14 Ks and just 2 walks, so he's thrown strikes this year, but he's been hit hard. And he has a tough opponent in the ACC's leading hitter, Michael Goldberg, who has a hit in 4 trips today. And the bases are loaded with Yellow Jackets and 2 outs in the 7th. Georgia Tech already with 3 across. And Goldberg will try to add to that. Around the bases, you have Webb, Will Height, and Waddell, and all have reached via the walks. And at this point for Clemson, they're going to a lot of guys who don't necessarily work a whole lot of games, high ERA type guys just to get them some work. And it's a heavy bullpen day. You could tell early on with both Xavion Curry and Davis Sharp with the high pitch counts early that you may have some heavy bullpen usage in the script this evening. And Clemson's just trying to save their top guys out of the pen for later in the weekend, maybe when it's a bit of a closer game here. It's all about bullpen management in college baseball.
Yeah, probably the 2 most reliable arms. Holt Jones, big 6'7" guy. He will probably throw the next 2 days. And then Spears, their closer. He's got well over 20 appearances for the year, and he threw back-to-back days, Tuesday and Wednesday of the midweek. So he would have been available tonight if there was a chance to win. But as of right now, no need to use him. Now if they could come back, that could change. But he's got to hope somebody can throw it in there and give her team a chance to go back in the dugout and have a chance to put some more runs up.
Pitch to Goldberg in the basement for a ball, 2-1. Walks on walks tonight. Georgia Tech has reached by way of a free pass 8 times, plus a hit by pitch. The stretch and a 2-1. There's a strike on the outside corner. Count evens up at 2 on Goldberg. Here comes the break even. Ground ball Up the middle from short, Davidson has it and will glide across the second base bag to retire Waddell and the side. But a long bottom of the 7th, 3 runs across to the 8th. Georgia Tech extends the lead. Georgia Tech with a 4-run lead as we head to the top half of the 8th inning now. Thanks to a 3-run bottom half of the 7th, they stretch it out. Just 6 hits, as you see there in the middle column, and fans here sticking this one out. Some fans, I think, came maybe for the first hour of baseball and then headed over to the spring football game going on right now at Bobby Dodd Stadium, but they've stayed strong at Russ Chandler Stadium to see Georgia Tech up 8-4 over Clemson, and a new pitcher on the mound. Tristan English will come in from the DH spot. He's Georgia Tech's closer and will come on here for perhaps 6 outs in this one late in the game. Starter last year, but moved into the bullpen this year, and is one of the top two-way players in the country, named to the John Olerud two-way player midseason watch list last week. And now English comes on in the top of the 8th with a 4-run cushion. He'll face Briar Hawkins, and 5, 6, and 7 due up for Clemson, as Hawkins takes a strike at a home run back in the 2nd.
Really had a good game so far. 2 singles that he's really squared up, and a home run that was really well hit to right center.
Strike called. 0-2. English makes his 12th appearance. He has 5 saves this year. This would not be a save opportunity, though, as it's lifted in the air deep out toward right. Radcliffe going back, and he runs out of room. Hawkins with his 2nd home run of the game. It didn't look to me like he hit it all that well, but that right field plays much like a short porch, and it just kept going.
4 hits, what a night. Talking about making an impact, getting back in the lineup after missing last weekend. 2 home runs, opposite field. Didn't try to do too much.
A pair of solo home runs tonight for Hawkins, both the opposite way. First one was out to right center, that one more straightaway right.
For the Tigers, number 26, Matt Cooper.
And it just kept carrying out toward right field. I think Radcliffe was surprised the wall came up on him that quickly. Now here's Cooper, who pinch hit earlier for Bo Makowski and stayed in the game to play left field. Fastball strike, 0-2.
I give fans at home like me being mad about all the changes in the bullpen by Coach Lee, but that's the reason why you do make those changes, to try to keep it a 1-run game or a 2-run game, so that the chance of the home run to come back and tie the game back up.
Clemson has 3 home runs tonight. 2 from Hawkins and another from Kyle Wilkie that cleared the batter's eye in center, but each of those solo shots. This one bounces over the head of English. Charging in Waddell, gets his man at first by half a step. Great play by Luke Waddell to beat Cooper by a nose. He can't believe it.
What a great play. Bare hand, got rid of it.
When that gets past the pitcher, you think it's a sure infield hit. And even on replay, it's just such a close call. One away for Justin Hawkins.
Number 17, Justin Hawkins for the Tigers.
Here's the pitch. Up and away. You said it earlier, though, solo home runs don't kill you. And for Clemson, they've had a couple of long balls tonight. They've had 3 home runs, but with nobody on base, Georgia Tech has been able to maintain this lead. Clemson has had no shortage of base runners. They've just haven't gotten that home run in a key situation with men aboard to make this tight, or even take a lead potentially.
You know, everything Clemson's made had some good things happen. They get a double down the line, they get thrown out, bang bang play, have first and third, and they steal a guy who has 27 stolen bases in the year, gets thrown out. You have guys at first and second, nobody out, and a boneheaded play on a steal there, and run themselves out of an inning. So, I mean, they've had opportunities, and it seems like every time they've tried to do something, it's gone against their way. And you got to give Georgia Tech a lot of credit.
And give Waddell a lot of credit for that play in the hole. Ranging right, great play. A long throw on the money to Goldberg at first, and there are 2 away. Luke Waddell flashing the leather tonight.
See the fans get on their feet there, Kyle. I mean, what a play. Back-to-back plays. One coming in, one going in the 6 hole right there. Showing off the arm strength.
It is so difficult that deep in the hole at short to put a throw on the money, falling away from first. And not only that, but to beat him by 2 or 3 steps. Waddell made it look easy. That was an absolute rocket of a throw. And a great play ranging right just to get to it. So here's Jordan Green. Georgia Tech has 4 outs left to get. Trying to win their first game on Friday night since late March. Lost 4 straight Friday night games. And yet have won each of those 4 series by winning on Saturday and Sunday. Or in the case of last weekend against Virginia Tech, winning a doubleheader. Breaking ball in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. Tristan English on the bump. DH, first baseman, pitcher. His 1-1 offering. Fouled away.
And he's been sitting 92, 93 this inning so far. Just an athletic player out there.
He's the second two-way player that we've seen in this game so far. Davis Sharp, the starter for Clemson, will be in the Tigers lineup the next couple of days as either a DH or first baseman, more than likely, after starting today, going 4 innings. And giving up 3 earned runs, 5 total charged to him, though, on 2 hits. He had 4 walks and 3 strikeouts, and Sharp is in line for the loss. He'd fall to 5-3 if Georgia Tech is able to close this one out in the dirt outside. Green hit an RBI double in the 6th on a 2-strike pitch. In fact, it was a full count that he drove to within a foot of the wall. 2-2. Strike 3 called, punched him out on a fastball. And Tristan English gives up the solo home run to Hawkins to start the 8th. But a 1-2-3 inning after that, thanks to the fine glove of Luke Waddell. Bottom half, Georgia Tech by 3. Back with you for the bottom of the 8th inning at Russ Chandler Stadium. And there you see in the third base dugout, Briar Hawkins, a pair of home runs, his first out toward right center field, and the second, a solo shot that made it 2-1 at the time. And then Hawkins adds another solo job a moment ago to straightaway right field. Oppo Mamo, and it made it 8-5. Now here in the bottom of the 8th, Georgia Tech looking to add to a 3-run lead, but Briar Hawkins with a pair of home runs, taking his season total to 6. Your player of the game, even in a losing effort, thanks to his power output. Certainly something Clemson needed, as Hawkins with 4 hits today to go along with his 2 homers. Speaking of home runs, McCann hit one earlier here. He hits a sky-high pop-up out to shallow left, and it's dropped by Cooper. Cooper called off his third baseman, Hawkins, who was out there in shallow left field. He heard the footsteps. He clears the way, and then Cooper can't make the play.
You know, actually called off shortstop there in a shift there. Davidson looked like he was camped under it, and seemed to kind of get some happy feet there. May have lost it in the lights. It's been one of those kind of nights for the Tigers.
Yeah, and there's not really a whole lot of wind to speak of. Now that the sun has gone down, the wind has died down. That was just Cooper not quite getting to it. So in steps Tristan English, your pitcher. Started the game as the DH. In the air, right field. And it'll slice out of play. 2 hits and 3 trips for Tristan English, a double and a single, couple of runs scored. Offering. Fouled back. Georgia Tech 8, Clemson 5 in the series opener. If Georgia Tech can pick up the win, they'd go to 29 wins on the year, 14-8 in the ACC. Up and out fastball, good eye by English. Clemson would fall to 26-17, and I'm sure that Monty Lee didn't see this coming after an 11-3 start to ACC play. They'd fall to 11-11 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. It would be 8 straight losses in conference play for the Clemson Tigers, and that started with a series win against a top 10 Louisville team. They won the first 2, lost the third, and haven't won an ACC game since. Florida State, Duke, and now the opener with Georgia Tech. 2-2.
You know, you look at ACC standings here in the Coastal, and you got North Carolina and Georgia Tech tied at 13-8. But you got a Duke team that really has been playing well of late, and Georgia Tech and Duke play here in a couple weeks, so that could possibly be a big matchup that you didn't think would have been later in the year.
Yeah, Duke certainly resurgent. Mentioned earlier, their sweep at Clemson last week was Duke's first win on the road at Clemson since 1993. Line drive toward the hole at short. One hopper scooped by Davidson, and the hurl across in time. You have to go all the way back to pre-Jack Leggett in Bill Wilhelm's last year. Wilhelm was at the helm for Clemson for 36 seasons, 1958 to 1993, and his last year was when Duke last won a series on the road against the Clemson Tigers. It had been a long time. Barron Radcliffe with an RBI double to his line. That back in the 7th inning, steps in, first pitch fastball, taking all the way. We talked earlier about how Clemson, how their coaching job just doesn't come open very often. Just 3 coaches in the last 60 years. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Radcliffe gone on strikes, and there's out number 2. But Bill Wilhelm, 36 years, 1958 to 1993. Jack Leggett, 1994 to 2015, 22 years. Monty Lee took over in 2016 after Leggett was let go, and you see the comparison there. The first 3 seasons for those 3 coaches, very, very similar. Monty Lee, his first year, won the ACC championship. Wilhelm and Leggett both had 6 College World Series appearances. I mean, Clemson has to feel good about the man that they hired from College of Charleston here to take over the reins and continue the success of the Clemson Tigers in spite of their recent struggles over the last couple of weeks.
Yes, I think he's done a good job. Coaching staff's done a good job that he hired, and just going through a rough stretch right now. All you can do is stay positive and hope things turn around. But very proud program, and I'm sure he is the number one man that's looking in the mirror, and he's done a great job with this team, and looking to come back tonight if he can.
Swinging a foul away by Colin Hall. By comparison, Clemson, as we mentioned, 3 coaches in the last 60 years. In the previous 60 years before that, they had 25 different head coaches. They were averaging a new coach about every 2.5 years for the first 60 years of the team's history. And, of course, that's in an earlier day of baseball. Coaches weren't, for one, paid nearly as much as they are today, and there was a lot more turnover. Coaches would jump from college to college. So, you go back to the early 1900s, 1910, 1920, there wasn't as much longevity as you have in today's day and age, but even so, I mean, it's remarkable the longevity that Clemson has had for back-to-back coaches in that helm. That's outside. Colin Hall works a full count. In an era where coach tenures just seem to be getting shorter. After a couple of years, if coaches aren't successful, they're pretty well shown the door quickly. A lot of schools have a short leash with coaches.
I think the biggest thing, you've got to be able to communicate, and I think Coach Lee does a great job of that. If you can communicate with people and win over people, I think you have a chance to have a long career. When you cannot communicate and not relate to players, that's when the message gets kind of stale. And I think Clemson's had 3 men that have done a great job the last 60 years, and Coach Lee is definitely another person that can communicate very well.
So to bring up Austin Wilhite. 3-run game in the last of the 8th, 2 outs and 2 on. Fly ball, center field, into Teodosio's range, and he makes the stab on the high line to retire Georgia Tech in the 8th. On to the 9th, 3 outs left in this one. Georgia Tech up 3. Top half of the 9th inning, Georgia Tech trying to get the final 3 outs to preserve this 3-run lead. Kyle Tate with Matthew Crownover here at Russ Chandler Stadium. Again, the series continues tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and then it'll wrap up on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Tristan English back to the bump for his second relief inning. It's not a save situation because he came in a 4-run game. It was 8-4 at the time. Gave up a quick solo home run to Briar Hawkins. And Chad Ferry will step in here. A pinch hitter for Clemson here in the top of the 9th and take ball 1. English deals his 2-0. Taken strike. This is the 9 spot of the order, so it's 9-1 and 2 due up for the Clemson Tigers. They have Sam Hall waiting on deck. Off the plate outside, it's 3-0. Chad Ferry is hitless in 24 at-bats. 0 for 24, still looking for that elusive first knock. And he takes ball 4 down and away. He has drawn 9 walks, so he's been on base quite a bit.
Again, if you're Coach Lee, you're just preaching to your guys, don't quit. Don't be the guy that makes the 27th out. And good job right there. Wasn't too tough of an at-bat. There wasn't 4 pitches, all weren't very close, but got the leadoff guy on. You have a chance. At this point, if you are English, you're trading runs for outs. You don't want to give up runs, but you're counting them down. Three outs here.
So Sam Hall next. Top of the order. Caught stealing twice tonight. For a man who, coming into tonight, had only been caught stealing 3 times the entire year. 27 of 30 coming into this Friday night game. And they've come in big situations. Right before an RBI double by Logan Davidson back in the 2nd. And then caught stealing with men on 1st and 2nd in the 7th and nobody out. Going on first move. It was a great pickoff move by Luke Bartnicki. Spun around, saw him trying to steal 3rd on first motion. And cut him down at 3rd base. That really was one of the game-changing plays. I think, partner, there have been 2 plays tonight for Georgia Tech defensively. That pickoff play, and then the throw from right field on the double where they cut down Logan Davidson at the dish that would have been the tying run at 3-2.
I mean, both teams have done a lot of good things and made some key plays. Just a matter of more things have gone Georgia Tech's way. They've made the plays when they had to, if they got the hits when they had to. And Clemson has hurt themselves, pitching-wise, putting extra guys on base.
Ground ball, hole it short. Waddell takes it off the chest, recovers, and gets the lead runner. That's the only one they'll get. So that leadoff walk erased at second. One man down. Hall takes his spot at first. And to Logan Davidson.
Now batting number 8, Logan Davidson.
Now a double play ends the game. Mentioned earlier, Davidson's dad, Mark, won a World Series with the Twins, played alongside Biggio and Bagwell and Ken Caminiti in Houston in the early 90s. Well, last year, at 57 years old, was a student assistant coach for the team. He decided to go back to Clemson and finish his degree. It's a fastball inside.
Is now an assistant coach on the football team this year, officially, for special teams. His son is the punter, sophomore punter on the team. And his nephew is the closer for Clemson.
Yeah. There's a strike, 1-1. So how about that?
Oh, I'm talking about Spears. Sorry, my bad.
But
it's been a long game.
Davidson's dad left school, obviously, to play minor and then Major League Baseball. That's fastball outside, 2-1. And then goes back years later. He said he had gone and gathered his transcripts 10 years earlier, a decade ago, with the idea of going back to school, but then being a dad, helping to coach his son Logan in baseball, and it just kind of fell by the wayside. Then at 57, he gets a call from Monty Lee, who says, hey, if you come back to school, do you want to be a student assistant coach? You can be part of the team and help coach your son, and who wouldn't jump at that opportunity? It's 2-2 on Logan Davidson. In the air down the left field line. Long run, Colin Hall loses the cap in foul territory, can't make the play.
Looked like that ball was coming back.
Yeah, he was frustrated and overran it. Runner at first, 1 out. Here you see it again. Long run for Colin Hall. Went just a step too far. And now the 2-2. In the air, center field and tagged. Nick Wilhite going back, looking out for the wall. He leaps. Did he pull it in? No. A 2-run home run from Logan Davidson, and all of a sudden it's a 1-run game.
Things have gotten interested all of a sudden.
You could tell by Nick Wilhite's reaction, he was oh so close, that just out of reach of his outstretched fingertips. A 2-run homer with 1 away in the 9th for Davidson makes this a 1-run game. It brings the potential tying run to the plate.
Fastball elevated over the outer half. Davidson's able to get his hands extended. 12th home run of the year for him. Again, got to get 27 outs.
English goes right to work now on Grayson Bird. Bird with a double already today, 1 for 4. Swivel and deal a 1-0. Fights that one off, 1-1. For Davidson, that was his team leading 12th home run of the year. His second straight game with a home run, too. Riding a 40-game on-base streak now is Logan Davidson. The 1-1 pitch to Bird, lined, over short, base hit. Tying run aboard now for Clemson in the form of Grayson Bird, and it brings up the cleanup man Kyle Wilkie, who's already homered tonight back in the 6th. And it was a moonshot, straightaway center over the batter's eye. And for Georgia Tech, here comes the pitching coach Jason Howell for a talk.
Want to slow the game down here a little bit, just deep breath. Try to get back to focus on what he does best. And big spot in this game right here where with Wilkie, who has hit the ball hard 3 times, and Briar Hawkins, who on deck potentially has hit 2 home runs and has 4 hits on his for the night himself.
It is a dangerous part of the Clemson order, and Tristan English didn't want any part of Grayson Bird, Kyle Wilkie, and Briar Hawkins coming into this inning. He was hoping he could just get through Teodosio, Hall, and Davidson and call it a night, but this thing far from over with just 1 out here in the top half of the 9th inning. 2 across for Clemson. 13th ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets trying to put away the Fighting Tigers. Here's the pitch. In the dirt outside, Kyle McCann slides over to block it. 1-0. As my partner mentioned, Wilkie's hit the ball hard 3 times with a double, a home run, and also a line out to third. He's 2 for 4 overall, a strikeout in there as well. Popped up, first base side, on the run Goldberg. Will he have room? Over near a cluster of fans, stabs and makes the catch. 2 away.
Got in on Wilkie's hand right there. Good pitch by English. Fans here at Russ Chandler Stadium getting on their feet, trying to cheer on the Yellow Jackets to a victory here.
Looks like that new cluster of fans down the right field line may have come in from the spring game. There you see in the right corner of your screen the catch. The best angle we have of it over on that first base side, but a great play by Goldberg. And it brings up Briar Hawkins. Dangerous hitter, 2 home runs already. Breaking ball outside, 1-0.
He's been able to get extended on 2 breaking balls out over the plate. So look for them to a little bit more careful if they're going to throw a breaking ball down the zone or maybe jam them up inside with a fastball here.
English is 1-0, swung on and missed. Tying run potentially standing at first, and out to get. English deals. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
They've gone 3 straight breaking balls here. Look for him to stay with it. Seems like that's the pitch he feels most confident with in this situation.
Fans to their feet. English to Hawkins. Down low.
Good location for a 1-2 pitch.
Two. Got him swinging, strike 3. And Tristan English flirts with danger, but Georgia Tech puts away Clemson with an 8-7 final score. The Tigers came within 270 feet of tying this thing up, but the tying run left it first. And for my partner Matthew Crownover, it came down to who made the most plays, and I think Georgia Tech made 1 more.
They made the most of their opportunities. You got to give them credit where credit's due. Coach Hall did a great job pushing the right buttons tonight and was able to get a win on Friday night.
On just 6 hits tonight, Georgia Tech scores 8 runs, an 8-7 winner. So for Matthew Crownover, I'm Kyle Tate saying so long from Russ Chandler Stadium, where the final score is the 13th ranked Yellow Jackets 8 and Clemson 7. We'll do it again tomorrow at 4 o'clock in Game 2 of this 3-game set. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live on the ESPN app. And to watch this game entirely on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. So long.